Welcome back to Worlds 2023. This is where it all gets decided. The last day of the play-ins with 2 spots in the Swiss stage up for grabs, and we could not have asked for better matchups. First up, we have the regional clash between GAM Esports and the big surprise in Team Wales, followed by a much-anticipated showdown between Team BDS and PSG Talon. What a day! I'm Ender here with Goldborg and Raz for all the action bright and early. How are we feeling today?
We're feeling pretty good. I'm really excited for the few matchups we've got going ahead, and that VCS preview, unofficial final, revenge time, all of that. I'm super excited for that one specifically.
Yes, I called this out yesterday. It was like, as an LPL fan in 2019, 2018, I hated when we faced up against each other, but you get reminded, but people didn't see that matchup. People didn't see the finals. We get to see it on the biggest stage with a lot of fans, so I think that's going to be a great showcase for the VCS.
It's bangers only, and I feel like always when you get a regional matchup redone, it's always a bloodbath, so we've got a lot of fun in store. Now, yesterday we said goodbye to Loud and CFO Flying Oyster, while GAM Esports and BDS lived to see another day. You've got it all right there. We've got our final matchups here, BO5s. Remember that. There's simple stakes in today's advancement matches. Winners lock Swiss stage, and the losers go home. And this does mean that VCS with this matchup are guaranteed at least only one representative out of these two going on.
But it's a guarantee, you know?
True.
This is a region where there's been a lot of doubts, especially coming out from that MSI 2023. Even coming into the first few games that GAM had, people were like, why does VCS even have 2 seats? Well, at least now they're guaranteed to get 1 to the Swiss stage, and once again proving their region belong to more than just play-ins.
Yes, whenever you go through events like these, people question the depth of your region. Well, Team Wales is the one that's first seed going into this final, so no questions anymore. And also just like
Team Wales is the Mariana Trench if you're talking depth here.
I like this, and I don't understand the reference.
Ocean. It's really
a whale,
deep.
it's an ocean.
It's like the Grand Canyon of the ocean.
You got some Googling to do.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. I will educate myself, I'm sure.
All right, well, no more Mariana Trench. We'll keep the marine biology out of it. Instead, I want to talk about who we think is the MVP of play-ins. Raz, you want to kick this off for me?
For this one, it's topical because of who's fading today. It's Kiaya. Kiaya, even in their losses, had big showcases. I'm reminded of the loss that he had versus Robo, where his Rumble just tore him into pieces. In fact, got the solo kill. And then throughout, what got them to this stage to begin with was his Cassante. The first time he got this one, it was like a replay. The first time, he blew Flash off of him. The second time, Flash is gone, so he ends up chasing him down and getting the kill. Robo was bullied in this matchup. They catered this throughout the draft to make it as favorable as possible, and he gave them the best.
Yeah, and it's not just on the Cassante. Well, hell, you cannot allow him to get Cassante. Let's just get that out there first, because he's a menace in lane. He's even more scary in team fights. But he's also just a threat pretty much no matter what champion he plays. He's regularly getting Jax banned against him because that's a champion he can straight up blind pick. Yeah. In the VCS, he was kind of like a bit light in that approach as well, in the fact that he'll just take over laning phase, your enemy top laner can't do anything about it, and he will literally 1v9 a lot of these matchups.
And the thing is, we've seen bits and pieces of his champion pool. He has a wealth of options of AP picks. We've seen his Fiora internationally prior to this, and just take a look at the stats here. Solo kills per game, he's guaranteed 1. So I'm excited to see the kind of exciting gameplay here. I think he's getting a little bit more support from Levi. Levi's not been having a good time so far this tournament. We will talk about him later on, but Kiaya has been good individually. Look at the energy that he has. He's ready to play.
I absolutely love it, especially if we can keep him on those AP top laners. It's so influential. But speaking of Kiaya, let's hear what he thinks is the reason for the team's turnaround.
Em cảm thấy rất là nhẹ nhõm vì bản thân em vừa qua thời gian bản thân em cũng đã cảm thấy rất là áp lực khi mà để hô trận đầu tiên. Thì sau khi trận đầu tiên bọn em đã hô trước lâu thì bọn em cũng ngồi lại với nhau bàn bạc và nói chuyện với nhau, cũng như là động viên bạn ngủ với nhau. Thì huấn luyện viên em mỗi lần mà team em gặp có một cái vấn đề gì đó mà nó không giải quyết được thì team cũng huấn luyện viên em cũng nói đơn giản là team chỉ cần bình tĩnh và reset lại bản thân, rồi nói chuyện với nhau và tâm sự với nhau, thì em nghĩ điều đó cũng là khiến cho em quay trở lại được cái phong độ tốt nhất, nên là em nghĩ đó là lý do.
Natural Olaf kit, so Kiaya has to be ready to go all in, ready to pull the trigger, but Robo just walks up. You see C immune, immediately just flashes on top of him. Bit of a fumble though, and the axe not quite connecting, and now, ooh, instant knockback, Kiaya! Oh, he's dancing on him! This should not be allowed! What is this Nard doing? He's just killing 2 grown-ass men on the top side of the map. Look at that Yordle go!
Thì ở trận này thì bọn mình tin là bọn mình sẽ đánh bại được Team Wales. Tại vì ở giải quốc nội thì bọn mình cũng đánh bại Team rất là nhiều rồi, rất là nhiều lần rồi. Đối với bản thân mình nghĩ thì trận ngày mai sẽ là trận khá là căng vì Team Will đang có một cái chuỗi thắng gọi là 2 trận và họ đang có cái đà. Và mình nghĩ là bọn mình, bản thân mình và cả team cũng như vậy, thì ai thắng thì cũng đều xứng đáng. Tại vì Team Will đã làm rất tốt về việc họ đã thắng 2 trận trước đó rồi, mà hai đội hữu rất là mạnh nữa. Và bản thân team mình cũng như vậy, thì mình muốn gửi gắm đến Team Will á là lần này họ không cần có một chuyến bay về đâu, họ chỉ cần bê về vui vẻ là được.
All right, it's the race for the planes, but we're going to be swimming today, I guess. I love it. I love the little smack there at the very end. But I do think we need to take our eyes to the other side of the map here to highlight the mid laner for Team Wales.
Yeah, you know, Raz was talking about MVP. I personally think we can do even better. I think Glory, for me, has been my main MVP. He has by far in play-ins been the best laning mid laner. He has not lost a single matchup. He's often incredibly far ahead. And in this game against BDS, his Syndra is one of the reasons they got to hold on. Don't get me wrong, Artemis is for sure the carry of the team. Yeah. But I think Glory's the backbone from the pressure he gets in the laning phase to how he utilizes that with the team and what he's able to gain in the mid to late game by setting the team up with objectives from the pressure he manages to get.
This team is so chaotic, and I feel like Glory thrives in it. Even in Mages, where it feels like you want some structure, he does not care. And you're right, Artemis has been doing doing really well. They've been throwing resources towards him, but it does start through mid lane, and Glory has been the guy.
Absolutely. Team fighting a monster for the side of Team
Yeah, and you know, I wanted to one-up it a bit. We were talking MVP. I want to bring an all-pro to you guys as well from play-ins here that we can get. But also just look at those stats.
Yo, take it easy on the desk, man.
I will not take it easy. CSD 14, what does that say, Ender?
That says plus 20.
Plus 20 as an average for our play-ins as a mid laner. He is the #1 laner from the mid lane. Goal difference as well, first. This guy does not lose laning phase. He absolutely takes over every single time. I want to watch all his pro views. So yes, let me go to that all-pro right now. Let me show you what we got here as well. It's Glory in every single position. And why is that? Win lane, win game. Throw him in the top lane, 20 CS advantage going through there. Okay, Prior in the top lane. Mid lane, you already know what he does. Bot lane, let's do the same thing. Support, yeah, we've seen some playmaking from him, some CC. We've seen on the Aura with the shockwaves. You can probably play that support. And as a jungler, we all know that it's easy to play when you have winning lanes. So you doesn't even have to worry about that. Glory, 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 glory. We already have the theme, the grind, the glory, and we got Glory in the back 5 times. He's going to win today.
This guy needs a breather. Nope. Please move us along.
Yep. Well, before the VCS Summer Finals rematch, Lore checked in with Koa, head referee from the VCS, to talk about what this means for the region in the Verizon Game Day interview.
Can we take this down?
And we're back in Seoul for the battle of the VCS as GAM and Team Wales will clash on the Rift today. And I have Koa with me, head referee for the VCS. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me today.
So what does it mean for you as a region and also for you seeing both these teams facing off against each other today?
We haven't had really good international results in the past couple of months, if not a year. And so it's a big relief for me to see my teams facing off big regions in the world and get a victory from it.
I feel like the history between these two teams is rather interesting because GAM, more veterans on the team, and it feels like Wales is more of the new generation for me of the VCS. How do you rate this matchup and the chances of both teams and the fact that they're carrying the legacy of the VCS, being a really aggressive region, upsetting most teams usually?
I would say it's a 50-50.
Okay.
If you're based on records, it'll be like 70-30 to GAM. But seeing Wales' performance in the last couple of days, I would say they're 50-50. They have really good coaching staff. They have players that are really passionate about the game and they're new. But that's also them being new is also a good thing for them.
Yeah, similar to what we have with Team BDS, for instance, and the fact that when you have so many rookies who are really hungry for the win, you can have unexpected results. What do you rate the success of Team Wales so far? Did you think they would perform so well?
Oh, Team Wales has had a phenomenal start. No one would have predicted a new team, a second seed of the VCS, to perform this well. They came into Worlds with less expectation than GAM, and they've got more than what the viewers ask for.
How difficult was it for GAM coming here at Worlds? Because I remember MSI really didn't go well for them, changing the bot lane as well, bringing new players in. Palette, we know him from other international events. Do you have faith in the team this time around?
I do have a lot of faith in GAM, but as a head referee, I'm not rooting for any of them. I want my players to play at their best and leave the place without any regret.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much for all your insights, Koa, and also thank you for all the translations you've been doing here at Worlds. And you guys, back to you.
Well, I'm sorry, Koa, but only one team can win today in our first matchup of the day. That's just how it works, Raz. That's how it goes. But we've got the VCS Summerfinals rematch between Team Wales and GAM Esports coming up. And this is a historic matchup because this is the first time that a region not called the LPL or LCK have faced up with two of their teams in a best-of-5 at Worlds.
And it's an amazing moment. We said this just a little earlier on, the fact that everyone gets to watch a VCS Finals that upended the LPL in bloodiness. And that's saying something. For so long, we talk about how bloody the region is, and now we get to see it on a major stage. So you got to hear it from the head ref in Koa. It was GAM favored. GAM historically has dominated them. 3-1 in the finals, 6-1 just in totals all-time scores between these two teams. It has just been GAM favored, which is so crazy because the usual fans that have just been watching Worlds catching up on these teams would naturally think that Team Wales is the better team.
And that's the thing, because in the VCS, you know, they got to play very different games where GAM came through from the upper bracket. They clearly were the favorites coming through from regular season.
Yeah.
Team Wales were down from the lower bracket. They both played Team Secret in the semifinals to a 5-game series, both of them. But once it finally came to that final, B was also hospitalized and could not play against them, so they had to play with a sub. This is the first time that the full roster of Team Wales will be playing against the full roster of GAM at the same time. So not only is it a chance to get a new outlook of how this matchup actually could have paved out originally, it's also a chance for redemption for Team Wales specifically.
Mental fortitude for sure is like the name of the game for Team Wales. Just in this tournament, losing the first game in like disastrous fashion and then still picking up the series, playing 5 series in a miracle run that you mentioned within the playoffs under the circumstances that they had. It's crazy to see the resilience that this team has. You cannot expect what they have for the day.
Now, Raz, let's talk players because Slater got really hyped up coming into the tournament.
Yes.
Day 1, underperformed, but now Pentakill Central, like, are we back up on him? How does this matchup fare with him versus Artemis?
Just a bit more. Like, I do think he's played better. The first series that he had versus Rout was disastrous, as we mentioned earlier, but I think he's been recognizing the pressure that he hasn't been getting. They've been playing towards the top side a little bit more, and Slater has been, they've given him the draft that's necessary. I think the Kaisa priority has been, the Xayah priority has been really working well for him, and he's been good in team fights. So although weaker opponents they've been facing, I think he has gotten much stronger.
I also think on the other end, Slater's just really not been feeling it this patch with the Xayah and the Kai'Sa. One of his best champions in the VCS was the Seri. One of the best games he had was also in playoffs when he was playing that Seri too. So I think there's a mismatch in terms of the confidence coming through as well. You can clearly see it from the stats here as well. Artemis has just straight up been the better AD carry, and that also once again means that we will watch this VCS bot lane from both teams finally with full support roster being up against each other play it out as it should have been in the beginning.
I absolutely love it, but if it's not bot lanes, it's junglers, right? And how does that fare? Because Levi is the clouded jungler. Everyone knows Levi, but Beanjay's having a tournament here.
Look, Beanjay has been insane. The first dive that he had top lane, just don't give him Jarvan. That's my only take. Don't give him Jarvan. He with how crazy their series has been versus CFO, he was the difference maker in how he's been constantly blowing flashes and being the big playmaker in these fights. So I have a lot of praise for Beanjay and how he has shown up in this tournament. It has not been good for Levi. And that's the struggle for me. We know what he has been capable of in Worlds prior to this and domestic play. It's rough to see his early games, but I do think he can get better.
It just feels like it's now or never for Beanjay. Levi's always had his number. Beanjay's always had to play second fiddle to Levi. This is the time where it feels like he has to outperform.
Yes.
This is going to be such a sick matchup. I mean, these two players, if the Jarvan comes in, either way, this is the ultimate advertisement for the VCS. We have one last day to decide it all here in the World's 2023 play-ins. 4 teams, but only 2 can earn the right to represent their region against the Titans waiting in the Swiss stage. Let's kick off the action.
因为我第一次打世界赛也是很久之前了嘛，然后其实我之前的就是战绩不是特别好啊，
For every like League of Legends player, like going to Worlds is like a dream. So this means a lot to me that for the first year I went to Worlds already.
When it comes time to show up, BDS show up.
打完 MSI 之后，其实我们就是有针对我们在 MSI 输掉的原因去就是加强嘛，就是这方面的失误也是有明显的在减少。那
Before League I was not really confident in myself, but now I know what can I do in game. Junja is looking really good right now, but I think I will crush him.
就是你可能还不知道我这个人是谁，但是我会让你在跟我们交手的时候記住我的。
This game is probably the most important game of my life. I just have to give everything I got.
Đối thủ của mình sẽ là đại diện khu vực VCS. Ai thắng thì cũng đều xứng đáng, tại vì team Well đã làm rất tốt. Bản thân team mình cũng như vậy.
Đối với BDS thì tụi em nhận ra được sức mạnh của tụi mình.
Khi mà em giải quyết được cái mâu thuẫn đó, điều đó sẽ khiến cho em càng gắn kết với nhau hơn. Điều đó khiến cho em có một cái không phải là một cái team á, nó là một cái gia đình luôn á.
VCS luôn là một khu vực rất là náo loạn, cách đánh nó rất là máu lửa. Tụi mình sẽ tiếp tục truyền thống đó và đưa VCS lên tầm cao mới.
Mình chỉ nói là mọi người hãy tin mình đi. Trận đấu này bọn mình sẽ làm được.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the caster desk as we finally get to best of 5 action. And Dagda, we've got a VCS Finals rematch to kick us off here today. I mean, there's no way this isn't a banger, right?
I mean, if anyone watched the VCS final, it was a bloodbath. Like, game 1 kicked off with more kills per minute than anything else I've seen. Like, it was absolutely insane. I am so excited to see these two teams face up again.
Honestly, anyone that thinks LPL has action, like, go watch some VCS in the playoffs, because it's hectic. And the craziest thing to me is that we're swapping seeding, essentially, between these two teams. GAM came into the tournament as the first seed from the VCS. They won their finals 3-1. But as Gorbog was saying on the desk, you know, Bia coming in right now, this is not quite the same matchup that we saw in the VCS finals. Wales here with their full roster this time around. And we'll have to see if that's enough to upend the storyline that has been consistent so far.
But yeah, on the opposite side as well for GAM, though, like, they've kind of got a bit more practice in, right? We talked about, like, Pallet not really being able to get into playoffs. He wasn't really able to be part of the team. They didn't really have much scrim time. The Asian Games also kind of made that awkward as well. But at least getting onto the world stage now, they've had a bit more time to practice. So I think there's going to be a lot of focus, even you heard on the desk, towards that bot lane. Artemis playing as the best AD carry coming out of the VCS, going up against Slater, who really wants to prove himself against Artemis here.
I feel like both of these AD carries have had kind of a rising star mentality going on during play-ins. Like, we've seen pentakills coming out. We've seen Artemis, who consistently has looked incredible during these team fights. And I feel like with the way that we've seen these two teams playing, actually in play-ins, it's been relatively slow. I mean, yesterday especially, GAM really taking their time on finishing these games out. And Team Wales, they've got this strange dynamic where the first game has been a bit of a struggle for them, and then they've got better and better as the series goes on. I feel like best of 5. If that just continues, like, are they going to win 4-1? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm excited to see how this one's going to pan out. As you can see on their screens, we are into champions. I think I saw an Ari band there.
Well, let's see if you're going to be correct as the graphic pops up at the bottom of our screen. There's the Ari band. You got good eyes on you. But I think the big one for me as well is I just want to highlight Kiaya. Like, him yesterday was an absolute monster. We saw on the desk, like, the double kill he was able to pick up on the turnaround gank and top lane. Like, he is
feeling himself at Worlds Play-ins 2023. So I want to see if he can have that same sort of impact. But getting into draft, we're getting junglers banned away already. It feels like, again, your kind of high focus on these more tank and CC-orientated junglers has kind of been the way of it. So do we get to see a Sejuani ban? Do we see a Xayah ban? Will she end up being first picked here? Those are the big questions that I'm kind of looking at now.
Yeah, I'm curious about if we get any Sejuani today, because Sejuani, it's been somewhat of a bait pick so far across the tournament, like statistically not doing so hot. A lot of teams have wanted to go for it. It's not really been working out across the tournament so far. We'll see how priorities change. But again, like, I can expect across this best of 5, the drafts are going to get a bit weird with the fact that it is a grudge match. These two teams know each other.
Yeah, and that's where it gets interesting. That's where even the draft starts to get interesting. But nothing interesting at the moment. Xayah going to be taken out immediately, which means chances are we'll see the response of the Rakan, just because you don't want to give the lovers duo across. So, although, maybe not. But I think even then for BJ, I think selecting your jungler here could be working really well. So, looks like they will give the Rakan across. I was saying maybe even go for the Lee Sin, but again, we talked about it. These teams know each other very well, so immediately trying to get those comfort picks.
I think it's really good to get that Cassante for Sparta as well. Just have him on comfort. We already mentioned Kiaya has been a monster. So many solo kills, averaging more than a solo kill a game across this tournament. Syndra going to be locked in, as well as that Rakan that we talked about. You'd anticipate it's got to be Kai'Sa, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good call to go for the Syndra here, because when you look at the front to back, essentially Team Wales are going to be setting up, Syndra works fantastically in that match, in that style. So I think GAM kind of taking a nice read here, but it does make it interesting to see exactly what Kiaya wants to go for, because I think this early Cassante does open up things like the Gwen if they want to try and go for it. So I'm curious if we actually get those bans coming through from Team Wales towards Kiaya in that top side, and the junglers kind of get left to their own devices.
I thought they were going to lock the LeBlanc for a second there, but it is going to be the Kai'Sa coming on through. So, advantage in terms of solo lane picks. Team Wales with top, and then Catty over for GAM with the Syndra locked in. So, we could see quite a few more jungle bans. We've seen a lot of jungle bans across the course of this tournament. We've had a couple of wonky matchups because of just sheer quantity of champions banned.
Yeah, and a bit of a wonky ban that people may not be aware of is the Wukong. This is a massive pick for Levi domestically, which is why we're seeing it banned away. He was the only, I think he had 4 games of it despite the nerfs, even coming into the end of summer playoffs. So this is a guy that definitely likes to get his hands on it, but you can see as well, Team Wales again are going to start prioritizing more of these junglers. Vi gone, more than likely the Sejuani, I imagine, coming in, but Levi is a massive Nocturne player, so you still have those opportunities to go for some of these picks.
And I want to bring up that Sejuani again that we mentioned before. BJ, it's his most played across the course of the year. 14 games and over a 64% win rate across those games as well. So the Sejuani could well be a good ban to go for on the side of GAM, but so far they're focusing on the mid lane.
Yeah, still going to be focusing. Yeah, okay, there's the Nocturne ban. So yeah, it looks like they, as you say, BJ probably going to go towards the Sejuani himself. Get your beefy front line, a ton of front line as well for this Kai'Sa, who's going to be very happy. And then I'm kind of curious to see if it's going to be an Azir pick here for Glory. I think when you have this much front line, you're going to be relatively okay. It does suck a little bit into the Syndra matchup because she has that long range stun, which you can then set up for more aggressive jungle picks, like even a Lee Sin here for Levi if you want to. But and with the Nico gone as well, looks like maybe you're going that way, or an Orianna as well. But same idea, these are tough matchups into the Syndra because she's got that long range CC.
See what Glory ends up going for. I will say Glory has been phenomenal during the laning phases so far. But BJ changing things up. We said the Sejuani, he's not going for that. He's going for this Lee Sin instead. It's a pick he's played before. It's a pick he's looked good on domestically. Let's see what he can do with it on the international stage.
And we've seen him had some phenomenal plays on this over the course of play-ins as well. Like, I remember the one, I can't remember which team he's against, but the safeguard
BDS,
to his
right?
Q. I think it was BDS. Safeguard to land the, or to follow his Q to get the kick flash. It was stunning. So definitely has the mechanics to play that. Levi going to respond in kind though with a bit of an aggressive mid jungler as well, and setting up for a very aggressive mid jungle now with the Syndra and the Viego there. So definitely going to be curious to see what Glory wants to go for. I think you need to match fire with fire a little bit here, but I'm not exactly sure how much ignition they have left in it right now.
To see the Renekton going to be locked in, so a lot of early power in this composition from GAM. You already mentioned the lane prowess of that Syndra. Renekton, no slouch either. And we'll see what the answer is going to be in this mid lane. Like you said, a lot of tough matchups for up against that Syndra with the Nico gone and the LeBlanc gone.
The thing is though, like, for GAM, it's kind of a we win hard or we don't win, right? Yes, you've got some decent scaling in the Syndra and the Xayah, but when you're going up against, I mean, with the Orianna now added into the mix as well, like a very strong front-to-back team fight, it's actually going to be relatively difficult for GAM if they don't play off of the top side of the map. Renekton and Syndra can set up beautifully for them or in these early skirmishes, even set up for lane ganks very well for Levi. So I think the idea here is going to be Slater Palace play through the strength of Xayah Rakan, just try to get some control there, although the Nautilus can throw a wrench to work there a little bit, but then have that kind of mid-game spike that you're looking to play off of. When I look at Team Wales, it's very much a case of, hey, look, we can try and play off of the Lee Sin in the early stages to counter gank, but see if we can get to scaling, get this Orianna line, get K'Sante to be this mega buff in the late game that is very difficult to take down.
Yeah, I'll be looking towards Sparta for Team Wales here, not just, you know, obviously K'Sante does K'Sante things later on in the game, but also when it comes to absorbing pressure. If GAM do try and play through that top side, we've all seen what happens when you try and dive a K'Sante that's got fingers on the ends of his hands. It can be terrifying to deal with. I'm hyped to see this one, though. Team Wales, I mean, they were the underdog coming into this tournament. They were the underdog against BDS. They won that series 2-1. They were the underdog against CFO. They won that series 2-1. And now, almost swapping seeding with GAM, who've had to come through the lower bracket. A lot of people at home becoming fans of the Wales across the course of play-ins. We'll see if Team Wales can live up to that new expectation.
Yeah, I think Team Wales, they're going to have to try and find some sort of creative ways to set up fights here, because when I look at, again, the front to back you get with Xayah and Syndra, like, trying to walk through choke points into GAM is going to be incredibly difficult. We're going to have to see how they're going to manage this one, though.
Dagda, we are here. It's time for a VCS Finals rematch. It's Team Wales up against GAM as we head onto the Rift for the start of what should be an absolute barn burner of a best of 5. Don't forget as well, as you start your day here, to log on to lolesports.com. You can get plenty of drops and all sorts of goodies if you're watching on the right website. Make sure you log it in, though. Don't just open up the website, log in as well, or you miss out on your drops.
Also, just thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I mean, Europe, it is incredibly early here. North America, shout out to you guys for joining in as well. We appreciate it, but actually going to have to hold on to that point, because Catty just get a whack as they get the ward down to spot out what BJ is going to be up to.
Yeah, so just scouting out that early game. But yeah, you're absolutely... I mean, we got up at 1:30 this morning. That's usually when I go to bed. My sleep schedule's totally reversed for today. But I'm hyped for it. I'm totally okay with getting up early when we've got this kind of a matchup to start us off. Let's talk early game, though, Dagda. We'll go to ward on BJ, so GAM have full information to start us off.
Yeah, I think this is where, again, it's going to be a case of watching how Catty, after he hits level 3, can set up for some sort of play with Levi. Like, my eyes are kind of on, okay, you can play through your solo laners really well here on GAM, especially with the amount of control Kiaya should have. And when I look boss, yes, you've got some setup you can go for. Actually, they're just going to go aggressive off the get-go, but I don't know if this is the play.
Yeah, I wasn't... You can never tell if they're really going to commit, especially with these two duos specifically.
Yeah, I know back in the day, it used to be, hey, look, Xayah Rakan, you both take W level 1, and you're like, invincible, essentially. Like, no one can try and match you, because the attack speed that you get off of Xayah works on Rakan as well as good flash from Artemis.
Flash out from Artemis, but that's an ignite onto Pallet. He can't, because he had to defensively flash, he can't then flash to finish off with his stacks there.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying, is that, like, you can't really play as aggressive as you used to, because the nerfs, like, ages ago came through onto this bot lane. And I think especially when you're up against the Nautilus, you can provide stacks for the Kai'Sa in the early stages. It becomes kind of tough to really take that 1v1 in the early stages. So, or sorry, 2v2 I should say, but level 2 is hit, and now Levi feeling confident to go for the invade.
Certainly is. BJ not happy about it, but he's on a ward. Looks like Levi will just back away from this one. Wolves should reset. No. BJ manages to get it ever so slightly wide on the shockwave as well. He'll be able to finish that camp off. Levi, no chance of backing away on this one. Slater and Pallet move into the jungle off the back of that prio, and they'll secure a blue buff.
Yeah, I was kind of concerned when I saw how much control Glory had over mid lane, but actually look at the health bars for Catty and Glory. They both got hit in that mid lane, trying to make sure that Glory wasn't able to come across. So now BJ, realizing that his bot lane is completely gone, going to just take a little transitional gank in mid, see if he can spot out where Cassie is, but wants to try and play for the top side jungle. But now watch Kiaya. He's moving down as well to make sure that he can cover it, and there's no way that BJ can actually respond to this invade on the bot side.
Spotted there, I believe, by BJ, but Not really interested in the fight right now, looking for that Scuttle Crab, trying to find, or trying to even up that early jungle CS lead. Levi moving in here. Bia could be in trouble. This is his first time fighting these guys at the best of 5. He missed out on the finals, but he won't be dived just yet. Artemis can move back in. Levi just trying to zone away a little bit. But now, as they will get themselves the bottom score as well.
I'm already feeling it though, Munch. The fact that we're getting so much aggressive movement is sick. Again though, I like, even though that they don't get the kill on bot side, you're still forcing the wave out of the control of Artemis. And because he has no flash, he has to be so careful if any of these dives actually do try and come through. So at the moment, it's more kind of poking and prodding, but again, it's kind of coming out in wins for GAM at the moment.
It's a great matchup for it as well in our jungle, right? Lee Sin versus Viego. Either of these gets early kills, like you know that the game's gonna start to get messy. As now we move up towards that top side. We talked about Kiaya being a big player to watch in this series. Sonic Wave has on flash forward and first blood. BeanJ making it happen.
Big win for Team Wales on the top side. You kind of see, all right, Kiaya knew he'd pushed in a bit too far. There isn't a lot of places for BeanJ to be because he wasn't on the top side of GAM jungle. So he ends up going a little bit too far forward to get vision, ends up getting spotted out. So nicely done by BeanJ to get that first blood.
Great start to the game for BeanJ here. And worth mentioning as well that BeanJ, this isn't his first time at an international, even though it's Team Wales as an org. First time BeanJ, previously Saigon Buffaloes. I'm sure a few people at home will know the name. And Kiaya will certainly know the name after this one.
Yeah, I mean, really nicely done. And even Sparta flashing forward to make sure he could get the damage down so that then that execute came through off the Sonic Wave. So nicely done. And now Kiaya, I mean, still going to be fine. He's already up quite a bit of control in this lane. You can see CS slightly in his favor as he collects this wave, but I expect he'll still be able to keep a good amount of control on this top side until you kind of hit 2 items for Sparta, and that's where he can kind of just tank a little bit what Renekton wants to do. But still, when you look towards like Rift Herald in 2.5 minutes, I think that's where you're really going to start to see, okay, we can begin to rotate people around here as GAM, unless Team Wales can actually get in position here. It looks like they want to try and gank onto the bottom side. Know that there's nothing there. Levi didn't spot the Sonic Wave.
Didn't see the Sonic Wave. He's going to face check it. Oh no, those are 2 big red outlines and a Void Seeker across the map. BeanJ all over this.
I mean, that was a jump scare for Halloween right there. Turn on the lights, you're like, nope, don't want to be here anymore. And unfortunately, he would already step that bit too far forward. BeanJ is everywhere at the moment, and Levi struggling a little bit to keep up.
I was going to say he needs to pull his jeans up at this point. It's too low-hanging fruit, but I just couldn't help myself. BeanJ, though, phenomenal start to this one. And rightly so. Team Wales, again, defying expectations so far in this tournament. And starting as they mean to go on in the series as well. Oh, hang on. Kiaya pull underneath the tower. There's no minions here. He takes a tower shot. Sparta, is he going to commit to this further? Doesn't look like it.
No, I think Kiaya had to get that wave crash, or else Sparta could just hold in place. BeanJ now spots out Levi, has the help of mid. Levi might have overextended here.
This is what we wanted. Non-stop action. Stun comes in though. Levi gets out of dodge. Shut down onto BeanJ. Glory can't follow up.
Great flash from BeanJ off the back, from Levi at the back of that, making sure he's able to get away from Glory's ultimate and able to follow that one up. So nicely done, and I mean, great turnaround. The fact you're getting these kills now onto Levi is going to mean a huge amount.
Minion blocks the hook, but the root comes in onto Bia here. Good damage out from Slater in this bottom lane. And just heavy trading. Literally in every single lane right now, we have people going toe-to-toe.
But this is exactly what we expected. Like we said, watching the VCS, they ended up with more kills than there was minutes in game number 1. And that trend kind of continued on for the rest of the series as well. So this is exactly what I wanted to see. These 2 teams going ham against each other, but it's still 2-1. Golden's still very even, but maybe this is the turnaround.
Great hook, and it forces out the ultimate. Still level 5 for Artemis and Bia here. So Slater, I'm not sure how he managed to get that XP advantage on both. I suppose they were zoned out earlier when Levi came to the bottom lane.
Yeah, exactly. That little bit of advantage coming in, but here you can see, oh, he does not want to be there as Levi ends up getting caught. The fact you end up getting the assist there with the long-range Void Missile is perfect for Artemis as well, so he gets a little bit of advantage, but this was beautiful play. So Levi thinks he has this for the caddy, he's trying to lean over. As BeanJ goes in, you can see there, Shockwave tries to go off, but actually the flash comes through from the Viego at the last second to make sure that he's in a good spot, and Levi's able to get the kill.
So now moving to the mid lane, as Levi does get himself the Rift Herald. So has an opportunity to inject gold into one of those carries. Could go towards mid lane for Catty, set up for the second Herald to take the tower. Or just try and get some gold onto Slater. He is on that Xayah.
I would love to see it go down in mid lane if they can find an opportunity to turn that into Dragon. But you can kind of see here that they're in a bit of an awkward spot. Cassie doesn't want to overextend the mid. Needs to get a reset off and TP back into lane before he can really do so. So I think Levi will clear out his entire bot side, then start to lean mid. Even look at the slow push that's happening bot side as well. Like, it feels like to me this is just a full setup for this early Dragon, and try and stack that up so you can play for the teamfights later.
Kiaya tanks a tower shot to try and get that first plate down, but Sparta, he's liking the look of this fight right now. All out available for him, but might step too far forward as Kiaya just goes into Dominus, and Sparta sort of just has to back away.
Yeah, it's not the best of times, may not be the best of times on bot either.
Yeah, trying to get out with his life, gets a root, walks up towards safety of Glory, but Glory's stunned out, and actually Catty has an opportunity here. Pilot couldn't get in range to get that dash and then the knock-up.
Still, though, these are the little victories that GAM needs, trying to play off the fact that they just have power in the early game.
Oh no, Ultimate comes out. Scatter the weak, does land, and there's the solo kill. Catty stepping up in the mid lane.
And I mean, GB was kind of praising Glory this entire time, but may not be the case. Artemis, great hook on Slater.
Yeah, Slater's in trouble here. Passive stacked up, but Artemis can't go further. In the meantime, Kiaya comes up in the top side. Sparta uses the all-out. Health bars relatively favored for Kiaya, but the Q doesn't get him enough healing, and he's down. It's Sparta taking the 1v1. Now BJ moving in to try and contest this Drake. He's got his bottom lane here, and a TP coming on through. Viego grabs it, Levi with a great little smite there, but Glory's behind enemy lines. Gets revenge onto Catty. BJ walking away just about as Levi can't finish the job.
Dragon goes to GAM, but Team Wales come alive. The Krill are picked up with 6-2 on the scoreboard. 4 members go down across the course of that. Catty, beautiful stuff here. Gets the slow, lands the unleashed power, and look at where those orbs are set up. Immediate follow-up with the Scatter the Weak, sets up beautifully. No flash, or well, could have flashed for the Orianna, but doesn't happen. And here, Kiaya goes over aggressive, thinks he's got the opportunity to make the play, but once that ultimate comes out, there's so much healing that actually happens, and the damage increase as well means the Sparta's able to take him down. Last one here, TP from Glory is perfect. Everyone on GAM is like, get Dragon, run away, but with that ward at the back, Glory's able to come in. The knock-up off the ultimate sets up beautifully for the shockwave on towards the Syndra, and then with the rest of the team able to follow up. Levi, no flash, no ult, no hope of killing BJ.
So far, so good for Team Wales. They got themselves 2,000 gold lead, and yes, GAM did manage to get themselves that Drake. Just hold that thought, because yet again our top laners are going toe-to-toe. And it has to be said, coming into this matchup, Kiaya on paper should have been the favorite, but Sparta's looking great in the 1v1.
Yeah, with the Iceborne Gauntlet now completed, all that extra armor, the Sheen procs, the slows are making it very tough for Kiaya in that topside matchup. 0-2 for the Renekton. Maybe 0-2 on BJ as he takes half his health bar as he says hello to Catty.
Oh, double knockup comes out from Pallet. Back away in the end. And I was going to say we have a moment to breathe, but actually BJ's moving in as well. And this is our kind of matchup, Dagda. Just permanent fighting.
All I'm saying, man, is this is feeling very Fight Night-esque as we start to move into this. Kiaya will clear it the way. Wasn't sure how much Sparta wanted to go for that. As, again, Riptar goes down in mid. We'll just get the charge, no objectives. Levi trying to be a pain towards BJ in the backside. You have the numbers advantage because you still got Artemis on this bot side of the map, so that's why GAM trying to play very heavy. Would love to get that last plate before his plates drop in a minute and a half, but with the control that GAM have, unfortunately Artemis can't respond in bot lane and he'll have to leave.
So, we've got a second here as some resets come through across the board. We've got Triforce finish for Levi, we've got BJ as well with that Gore Drink, and we're starting to see some items come out across the board. What should we be expecting for the next few minutes?
The next one's going to be the Rift Herald in a minute and a half. So these resets, you can already see, I actually don't want B to go bot side. He should be moving top lane to try and establish the vision control that you need on that top end of the map. Kiaya not having control against Sparta is massive for Team Wales because you actually then manage to get control here, as you can see, where you really shouldn't be able to. And how aggressive do you want to go here? Hang on.
Sparta playing with fire a little bit here. He will get out with his life. Gets the plate as well. To be honest, he's happy with that.
Because it means now that with Sparta having control here, you can actually have him first move towards Rift Herald, which makes it very tough then for GAM to try and contest, because they are just going to play catch up for a lot of the fights. You can even see BJ moving up here as Sparta wants this. But no, just going to be able to back away. But this is mad, because like when I came into this, we were literally praising Kiai to start things off. Sorry, my bad. Sparta, like, in this Renekton-K'Sante matchup, traditionally it's Renekton takes Demolish, he just kind of ignores the damage from K'Sante, it gets turret plates and start to scale into like his Gore Drinker and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But you're not getting that opportunity here because the way Sparta's done it.
We literally just saw the opposite of that, where Sparta walked up to the tower, completely ignored the Renekton and took a plate in front of him. It does feel like a bit of a role reversal. And in terms of like the players and their history as well, you're expecting Kiai to be the favorite, not just in this matchup, but in terms of the 1v1 between these two players. So, I mean, wow. As we're in our first qualification, best of 5, our MasterCard lane economy snapshot is very nice looking for Team Wales right here.
And especially for Team Wales, as you said, that, I mean, 3-1 loss to GAM in the finals. They're looking pretty damn good here.
Looking good, but Bia caught out here, has to flash away. Valet looking for the charm. He gets out with his life. Artemis, you're in a bad spot and has to flash as well.
Absolute disaster for Team Wales. We were just setting up, hey, look, you should be the ones that have full control over Rift Herald, but B and Artemis overextending in mid, forced the flash and the cleanse gone there, which means they're not really in a position to go for this. You don't have the ults, I don't think. BJ's is down. Maybe they can make something happen.
BJ playing with fire there and forced to flash away. He's been caught. He tried to go for a kick, I think, but bailed at the last second, and he's taken out for it. GAM find themselves a huge advantage.
Yeah, he tried to bait out the the knock-up from Pallet, the stun from Catty, and then have everyone on GAM try and turn towards him, but they played it patient, and he just kind of ends up leaving himself exposed as GAM happily take the Rift Herald now as well, and they're in a great spot to continue pushing pressure.
Less of a BJ there, more of a binge on that play. And now Team Wales, it feels like that big advantage that they had with this tower going down at the top side. Gold is going to be not far off of even. That first Drake went to GAM earlier on. Second Drake is onto the map already, but Team Wales are on the scene.
Yeah, you can tell with GAM, they were like, look, we don't have the opportunities to try and go for this. We used literally everything in the kitchen sink in that last engage. Whereas when you look across at Team Wales, because it was BJ that got caught, they have all their ultimates up. So good call from GAM to say, don't go near this. We already won what we need to. Let's just take the tower and get the gold we want. But see here, they expected Catty to turn, Pallet to turn with the ult or with the engage, but because they didn't, BJ's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, forced the flash, and you still get the follow-up from Pallet.
And you see, Bia, look at his HP there. Yeah. There's no way he can realistically follow up on that engage without just immediately getting one shot. So not necessarily the best engagement Team Wales.
And this is something that I've noticed a little bit with some of the VCS teams is when they try to come for these objective setups on towards like first and second Rift Herald, they end up like misplaying where they're positioned on the map. Like they send Sparta to bot side there, when realistically they could have kept Sparta on top lane and actually used him as control to then move in towards Rift Herald, have the push in top, get push we made with Artemis and Osa Glory to then contest. And I think it's these little things where it's for Team Wales that ends up costing them, and why I think a lot of people were kind of doubting them coming into playing stage, but we got to see cleaned up in Game 2 and Game 3 of a lot of their series. So we'll have to see if they can try and bring it back into this, because I mean, you look at the goal at the top of your screen, we're actually at a very even game point right now, despite the fact we just had so much action in this game.
That was going to be my next point, actually, the fact that we're here, VCS Finals rematch here for our World Swiss qualifier. And game number 1, we got 1 Drake apiece. Gold is basically even. And even though the kill count is reasonably low, or at least it feels very low, compared to the amount of action that's actually been happening in this game.
Yeah, I mean, both teams really taking haymakers at each other, but we'll have to see where the next one's going to connect. For GAM, it feels like they're trying to play off of this topside vision control they've just established. Maybe look for Glory if he overextends, but you can see there Glory playing very, very safe because he just doesn't know where the members of GAM are. Whereas when you look at Team Wales, it's like, okay, can we try and play off of our strong point, which right now is Sparta and BJ. Can we try and get this bot tower for ourselves, crack open our first third of the game? And a lot of this is going to be Artemis having good wave clear like this in mid, with BJ supporting him, and then leaning that pressure down onto the bottom side.
Keep my eyes on Glory as the game goes on. As you mentioned, has his items, needs to be cautious currently, but when it comes to those team fights later on, Oriana's a monster. Sparta looking 1v1 on Kiaya, finds it as well. The flick back is perfect and sets up for Artemis to cut down the beast.
There's the exact play we were talking about, but GAM also responding with what's the best decision for them. Moving up towards this top side, they're pushing Glory back. Glory trying to TP into mid to clear the wave. Slater won't be able to get this mid lane turret, but now Glory very overextended. That's the TP from Sparta to just keep his mid laner safe.
And you defend the mid tier 1, but you ultimately lose a tier 2 in that top side. Catty, he's going to have so much gold off the back of how this early game's gone.
But the thing is, Artemis is actually taking a while to clear this out because everyone's left him. So if you get quicker resets coming through from GAM, they can actually come back out onto the map and contest both the mid turret and also the dragon that's going to be in 2 minutes time, like re-establish their vision on this bottom side. So you do have to be kind of careful, but GAM, at least for the moment, staying out on the map a little bit longer. So it looks like Team Wales should be able to at least continue the same kind of reset time and come back out onto the map.
I have to say, despite the fact that the gold is dead even, despite the fact we're even on Drakes and all of that, I am leaning Team Wales right now. With the way that these early scraps have been going, and also the fact that Artemis is, well, true actually, yeah, UK Esports here. No, but the fact that Artemis is the one grabbing these kills, right? The fact that Artemis has got his Kraken Slayer already. He's probably at a second item, honestly, off the back of a recall here. Like, he's in a phenomenal spot. There you go, Navori quick plate's finished off.
The only thing is, I'm looking at Glory. He did stay out on the map a little bit longer. I think he's just completed Shadow Flame off this recall as well, or maybe want to stay out for a bit of a needlessly large rod. Oh, it's just a needlessly large rod. But
oh no, BJ! BJ in the wrong spot once again and taken out. That's a couple of times in a row now where sort of overestimating the control of the area.
Yeah, I mean, no vision at all in that bush and tries to take the shortcut, gets caught out. Now this is going to be mid lane turret falling down and 55 seconds until the dragon's up. You're losing bot tier 1 as well. GAM push in waves here, establish deeper vision on the spot side, and you're in a great spot as B!
Another pick, and it's Beer to go down. That's BJ and Beer both on cooldown. Baron is up on the map. Did GAM just go for this?
I think you can. You've got a ton of damage off of Slater. He's got Kraken Slayer. Levi was going to do a ton of damage as well, so they're going to turn and burn. You have nobody from Team Wales in the area, and just like that, GAM with 2 quick picks might have blown up in this game.
BJ running across the map as fast as he physically can. Sparta, you got to get in that bit, you got to delay if you want any chance of contesting the Baron. It's going to go down here. Smite.
Wait, Juggler's in the pit!
No,
Juggler's
got took out of the pit! It's not stolen. GAM still get it, and Artemis is stuck in the back of the pit here. Slater to finish him off as Sparta dives in, but the feathers keep Slater alive, and now it's Sparta to go down as well. It's a Baron. It's a double kill for Slater. It's everything for GAM.
Slater managed to get the Baron, get the double kill, and that was so close to being a miracle play from Team Wales, but they just can't quite get the damage. And now, with the TP from Kiaya coming back out onto the map, they'll be able to keep their resources safe. Even TP onto bot side as they want to try and contest Dragon here as well.
They can contest Dragon, but
everyone's on resets.
He reckons that they can, and Kiaya's moved in as well. They found a way in. It's Glory also out of mana currently, so had to go for that reset. Artemis wasn't on the scene. And I have to say, like, GAM getting this straight, getting pretty much everything, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this was really nice stuff from Sparta. Again, he's been having a great game on this. Casante gets into the pit, manages to get Levi over the wall, but look at this. Artemis that little bit late with the flash over the wall, so can't get the burst damage with his Q. Ends up falling as well as Sparta's trying to get the back around into the pit. And even the Rakan as well, he'd already pieced out because he didn't want any more of this. So now we come back into the game as Sparta will get stunned up. BJ in the area as well as GAM are looking to siege down with Baron.
Should be able to siege this tier 2. Sparta is fighting tooth and nail to hold on to this game. Great in the laning phase, pulling Levi out of the fight to give the opportunity a somewhat 50-50. BJ, that ain't your jungle anymore. And GAM now. Red Bull Baron power play already at almost 4,000 gold in their favor.
Slater has no ultimate. This could be the kill.
He'll be knocked up. Artemis is there with the damage. Slater's going to go down. Shut down into the pocket of Sparta. GAM in full retreat. Levi has to use his ultimate just to get out to safety, but this means Wales can run down mid.
But that's massive. You're going to shut down the Baron push. Well, I say that as Kati going to move down into the spot side to pick up the inhibitor turret anyway, but Team Wales, wonder how much they can try and respond as Glory. You're taking a lot of damage here. You don't have much magic resist apart from those boots.
Just going to tank the tower here to finish off a tier 2 in the mid lane. Kati is getting huge. That's more side lane towers that he's getting solo gold for. Picks up a stopwatch now. 2.5 items already, as Levi will be able to smite away that blue one from the end.
It is crazy though, because so much of this game I thought was going to come down to, hey, we're going to set up around objectives, try and play for these 5v5s, especially when I look at, you know, front to back setup for people like Zai and the Syndra. But it's been picks like this that have actually been defining this game. BJ getting caught, gives Baron across the GAM. Now this really good pick from BA, knowing that Slater's ultimate was down. Like, look at the time. Like, it's actually a little bit off on the bottom of your screen, but it was so close to coming up in the middle of that fight. But they have the perfect timer. They know he has no flash, and they just barely managed to pick him off.
Looking towards Glory as well. He's had a quiet game so far, but 2 items finished at this point. The Orianna, very much coming online if he can find that big shockwave, but this isn't necessarily composition that groups super close together.
Well, in theory, they should be. It's just been a case of we're so split out or in the map. The biggest problem that I see for GAM, though, is like not having the control for the Renekton. As you can see, Kiaya way down the total damage list, but we'll have to hold on to this as mid lane's in trouble.
Oh, Palette goes for the engage. Scat of the week is there. BA's gone. So's BJ. Caddy got claws in this game as GAM are all over Team Wales. Sparta trying to find the fight, trying to find the hero player, but Caddy, he's got 9 lives as well. It's going to be a mid lane inhib. It's going to be everything for GAM.
At this stage, you just want to try and get that wave in bot side, start to push in. You can see Levi looking to get the inhibitor as Kati goes to collect the wave. Glory has a good amount of wave clear, so I don't know if you can finish unless you kill him. Paladin wants to do just that, though.
Just look for Glory. Flash for the stun from Levi, but the rest of the team not really there to follow up. Shockwave on cooldown right now. The stun is there to knock up, and Levi just gets it. Basically a solo kill. Hunter Glories, he just chases him down with the delayed respawn. This could be huge for GAM, but they're not even going to look for the second inhib. They want to get out back onto the back.
This, although it obviously GAM are flying away with this game, right? They actually would have preferred to get the bot inhibitor off that one, so then they'd have pressure for Baron, but still, this is massive. Beautiful engage, because the whole point that I was about to say was that you actually struggle as Kiaya to get control over bot side to pressure that inhibitor despite the fact it's down because of how far ahead Sparta is. So you need to try and make some sort of play, and GAM do just that. They end up pushing sides, collapsing immediately on towards the mid lane, and playing again off of what has been spectacular vision control for GAM on this top side of the jungle ever since top and mid went down. And then here, flash forward from Levi to get the kill. Because you have GAM kind of focusing on this though, it will be a mid inhibitor down. Bot inhibitor will still be there, and I think it'll be Kati's job potentially to try and see if he can push in mid and lean into that spot side, but with Baron up in 50 seconds, it's going to be, again, use these super minions to push in mid, get control over top side, and try and force Team Wales to face check you into the Baron pit.
I feel like Gorborg is going to have to change his all-pro team at this rate, because this has not been the story of Glory. This has been Catty all over, absolutely dominating these fights. That last fight as well, the double kill to start, managing to escape from Sparta as well. His flash is on cooldown for this next fight. In fact, 4 flashes currently on cooldown for GAM, although Sladers will be up in just a second. So perhaps some small window of opportunity, but perhaps not, as BJ caught again, stunned by Catty. He's just on fire. Sparta trying to pull him back into the fray, but he'll just go down, and now the rest of the fight should be all about GAM. Team Wales, they started the game well, but they've also started this series in the way they have every series here in play-ins. They go 1-0 down, and GAM, they want to repeat what happened in VCS finals here. But yeah, just trying to buy time. It's not going to happen. GAM will take down this Nexus.
I mean, GAM with a very hard-fought victory here. It started off well, but the picks just kept on coming. Team Wales kept on falling. And we'll have to see if this road for the VCS #1 seed is going to keep on rolling.
So far, so good for GAM. And I have to say, their reactionary play has been fantastic in game #1 here. Like, let's be honest, neither team playing super clean throughout this game. Like, there were mistakes on both sides. But GAM doing a really good job of, off the back of these skirmishes, off the back of these scraps, taking side lane towers. Like, Catty was getting so much individual gold from, like, taking the tier 2 in the top side, pushing the inhib in the bottom side. Like, so often, it felt like GAM were getting a minor gold advantage off of these plays. And then when it came to the team fights, I mean,
it felt very reverse expectation, though. Because we kind of were like, hey, look, we expected big team fights. Didn't really get them down to picks. We expected Sparta to struggle against Kiaya, whereas we thought it would be the rest of the team that were kind of matched toe-to-toe. But Sparta, fantastic game with the Cassante, but it was BJ getting caught. It was BA making mistakes where he was overextending. Even Artemis at points in that mid lane. And that was where they really started to crumble apart. And I mean, fair play to GAM. Catty, as you said, great pick potential coming through alongside this Viego for Levi. It felt like even with the amount of bans that were tossed the direction of Levi, this Viego had a great performance.
Yeah, phenomenal performance. Honestly, Catty as well. Syndra looking fantastic. That might have to be a ban for game number 2. It's time to head over to our analyst, Ender, Raz, Gulborg. Let us know what you thought, especially you, Gulborg, because, I don't know, Catty's kind of winning the mid lane right now.
Yikes. Yeah, called out on live television. How embarrassing, quite honestly.
It's just according to script. Because Team Wales, we always lose game 1. We lose every best of 1. But it's a best of 5, and that means we will win the series.
Oh. I mean, it is true. Team Wales always lose game 1 and then come back to the next 2.
Yeah,
we haven't seen the best of 5 yet at play-ins, so it's unclear yet whether or not they just win game 2 and 3 or if they win everything else. But already I think we can pull up the draft and get to talking here because like we've seen from some other teams, that Xayah Rakan priority is just sort of left up by the red side team even because it's Slater on the other side. And I think everyone got baited by day 1 when he lost to the Kai'Sa.
That's what I'm saying. You set an expectation early and then subvert them later and catch them by surprise. I think the 2 things that I really like from GAM this time, as you've mentioned, the priority that they've changed off of the Loud series is like, okay, we're going to prioritize Xayah a little bit more. Also, the ban on J4, I think, was necessary, and it's going to be the same case for the rest of the series. Unless if Team Wales shocks us with a stronger performance, and I was worried early with Levi's mistakes. We'll talk about that a little later on. I think the first 2 things we saw from GAM, great.
I thought it was very interesting as well, just because Team Wales bans outside of the Wukong, which was actually a Rakan in the finals, was pretty much the same that they were scared of against GAM at that time as well. But I also think it was a mistake for GAM leaving Sparta's Cassante open. I think Kiaya is by far the best top laner, but as soon as Sparta gets Cassante, he actually gets to be more promising up in that top lane, and we even saw it in the matchup too. I really think you can't allow it to happen just because it neutralizes a matchup where GAM should by far be getting ahead.
And Kiaya is a player that you'd love to see play against Renekton with a Rumble or some kind of AP fighting champ on the top side where you can build an advantage. I think that would be very important because when we actually go and take a look at the early game, those solo lanes go opposite to expectations. Starting in the mid lane here, GB, like Glory just gets straight up murdered.
I was shocked. But also huge credit to Kati. I think he did a phenomenal job finding good lane pressure. Syndra into Orianna. It is a favorable matchup for Syndra. He gets to force the Orianna to Merc Treads. This one was an even bigger surprise to me, not gonna lie.
Yeah, Sparta is playing so well here. I like that BJ was able to get the advantage topside with an early gank, but then he just went wild with it.
But here's why Glory decided to die. Because he could come back with TP. Kati's still
That's what he decided.
He doesn't have ultimate. He's got Shockwave. And guess what? This was, on a more realistic note, this Drake got started just around 10 minutes. So I think that GAM was a bit too overconfident starting it up after they got the pick, didn't respect the death timers, and kind of forgot that TPs got unleashed at 10 minutes exactly. So I think it was a bit favorable and also a bit lucky for Team Wales that it actually panned out the way that it did.
Yeah, I think there's a few different things that happened there as well, because while we saw mid lane and top lane, the solo kills go down, bot lane also took a really big fight, so all of a sudden, GAM's bot lane is pretty low HP going into that dragon.
Yeah.
And, you know, they cancel the reset on Caddy, who's only 30% health as well. So that fight does not end up going well whatsoever. But GAM did bring it back with 2 critical picks to set up for the mid-game Baron.
And that's the thing. GAM was a much better squad going into the mid-game. The few choices that we saw, the first one I'll talk about, which is the Rift Herald. BJ tried to go for a Lee Sin kick, or at least fake out a Lee Sin kick, because he's going into Rakan and Xayah. Xayah maybe he's going to ulti, Rakan maybe he's going to do the same. They didn't respond, he gets picked off, and then as the game goes on, it gets a little tougher.
But also, I have no idea what BJ is doing right now.
Yeah.
He just decided to say, you know what, let's have some fun, and take this elevated blast cone straight into it. No vision whatsoever. BJ's like, wait, that seems super cool. I'm gonna do the same and just face check this fuck of war again. And what do you know? He gets picked off as well. Out of nowhere, you just lost your jungler, you just lost your support for no reason whatsoever other than they wanted to face check. And this completely propelled the game back into GAM's favor.
Yeah, and I mean, the vision control we haven't talked about was great for GAM in the top side. So off of the first pick on Lee Sin, naturally Nautilus is going to be concerned.
So close.
That was really close. Yeah, I wanted to mention that. That was so clutch from Sparta to be able to kick out and kill the jungler. So it made it a bit of a toss-up. But, you know, Xayah was able to get the last hit on there. Orianna was nowhere to be seen. And it just made it, at least, I was sweating. But GAM was able to secure the kill off of that one. So look at this game. It was insane to see how well Team Wales was doing in the early portions of it, but once mid-game hit, I felt like the picks were there from the side of GAM, and even though they were bullying Renekton on side lane, I thought that they were always getting something on the opposite side of the map on GAM side. So I have something to show you, GB.
Oh, you're going to show us something?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yes. So
Did you went
what you
behind my
got?
back
Look.
and DM'd our producers with this one?
Look, I had a response.
Oh!
I know you were high on Glory, but guess who put him in the coffin?
God damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, Caddy, he's not about the he's about the grind. You
Yes.
know, I think we got a little distracted. Glory was all about that, and it just goes completely the other way.
It's about giving the enemy a false sense of security.
Okay.
Right.
And
the Team Wales
right
game one.
Right now, Caddy thinks he's up there. He thinks he's the better mid lane. He's going to be making mistakes going into the next game. He's going to be overconfident, and they're going to punish that.
He knows. He doesn't think. In fact, take the Syndra away from him all you'd like. I feel like now I'm going to be confident in this case. 2 series in a row in which Caddy's been dominating. I've heard from the coaching staff he has been the glue to the team. He's been more than the glue. He's been the sword.
Can I just ask real quick, why is there no CSD at 14 on this graphic right now?
don't need to see
Can you
that.
tell me why?
The man's a team
Is that because
player.
he's down in CS? Is that
All
because
right,
he's not?
Goldborg, relax. He was
It's
down
all
10
about the
CS. He got
glory,
a
the
solo.
trophy of play-ins. I'm down for the Church of the Glory.
Look, okay, mid lane is back and forth, and I think we can throw a lot of expectations out the window. GAM Esports continue to have the upper hand versus Team Wales, but we're going to see if the surprise Team of Play-ins stage can bounce back right after the break.
There, Levi didn't spot the Sonic Wave.
Didn't see the Sonic Wave. He's going to face check it. Oh no, those are 2 big red outlines and a Void Seeker across the map.
Levi might have overextended here.
This is what we wanted. Non-stop action. Stun comes in though. Levi gets out and dodge.
Trying to play off the fact that they just have power in the early game.
Oh no, ultimate comes out. Scatter the weak does land, and there's the solo kill. But perhaps not, as BJ caught again, stunned by Catty. He's just on fire. Sparta trying to pull him back into the fray, but he'll just go down. And now the rest of the fight should be all about GAM.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Tap, light it, open it, close it, and text it, and send it, snap it on. Come on, let's see the brightness, and just feel the lightness. So impressive, be expressive. Oh, tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it.
Bringing in a new roommate to save money, is that the plan?
Say hi to Glenn from work.
Yeah, I think I have a much better plan. We switched to my plan from Verizon.
That is a good plan. Glenn.
Get my plan starting at just $25 when you bring your own phones. Plus, save when you add perks like the Disney Bundle. It's your Verizon.
Here we are for game number 2 in our blue corner. It's GAM Esports, first seed from the VCS.
And coming in on the red corner is going to be Team Wales, first seed from Play-ins Group B, ready to throw some haymakers. I am so excited to get into the second game.
And our fight card for tonight, our fight card matchup is in that mid lane. We've got Catty for GAM weighing in at 7,000 pounds in the mid lane.
And on the opposite side is going to be Glory, weighing in slightly less after that last performance, to be perfectly honest. So we're going to have to see if he can try and fight back coming into round 2 here.
This was, for anyone that's totally out of the loop here, this is a little nod to all the old school LPL fans. We did find out a couple of times when it's an absolute bloodbath on our screens. It's time for fight night, and I mean, game number 1, it exemplified the true essence of Fight Night.
And I am so ready for this. I mean, the fact we got so many kills, so much action, but we'll have to see if Team Mouse can kind of slow it down a little bit. Game 2, or Game 1 even, they didn't have the best of times when it came to BJ getting picked off. BA and Artemis overextended that a little bit in the mid lane, dropping Baron. You need to see that slow down, and you called it, Munch. The early Syndra ban coming in here for Team Wales. Again, they do not want to let Catty get that.
Yeah, not surprised at all, honestly, on that one after what Catty did to them during those team fights later. I mean, it was the one where he flanked the tier 2 in the mid lane, got the scatter of the week across, got a double kill, and then the all out from Sparta actually essentially saved him. Had that stopwatch managed to get out with his life. And now GAM starting off with Slater grabbing himself that Zaya.
I mean, no real change up here. Curious to see if they do decide to take the way with Rakan here, or if they're happy to just go for the Nautilus Kai'Sa once more. Sorry, the Rakan's banned away, but I think again you're kind of in a position where you can go for this more aggressive style. And we also saw Big going for things like the... Oh, he's actually, I was going to say the Rel. So actually going to be able to pick that one up immediately. And now it's a case of, do you go for the Kai'Sa off rip, or do you want to try and confirm one of the junglers for yourselves after the swap up in the bans?
I mean, you can always save Kai'Sa for third, right? They've already got a Sire on their side, unless we see Catty taking mid lane Kai'Sa. We've seen it before. But Sparta goes for the Rel. Wouldn't be surprised to see BJ going for priority jungler, but no. Deciding to hold that card and hope for a jungle counter pick.
Yeah, I think now you'll probably see Palace try and respond with something like the Nautilus here in response to the Rel, which you assume is going to the bot side. This would be a sick pickup for Kiaya if he's able to get his hands on it. Something he's been incredibly strong on. And I think after the last one, where the Cassante kind of had his field day up there, it looks like Kiaya has taken off the gloves himself and wants to go and have his control of that top side.
So for a bit of context on this pick from Kiaya in the top lane, this is his most played top laner across summer, 11 games played on the Jax, 82% win rate, a 7 KDA on a melee bruiser. Like, Kiaya dominates the top lane on the Jax. And now we get a Victor. This is our second Victor pick of play-ins here, and I believe it was Catty that played it the previous time.
And had a brilliant performance on it yesterday as well, so not fully surprised to see it brought out, but still having this much priority on it, I think you can kind of see that Catty understands what he's up against in Glory and how he wants to try and fight against it. So now the response from Team Wales is just going to be that Cassante and trying to put that up towards Sparta on that top side. But again, I think you're kind of happy with the way this has gone as GAM. You got a really strong top laner in the Jax on that top side of the map. Great team fighting in the 4v4 with your Zaya and your Victor. If I'm actually Team Wales, I'm not looking so much at things like the Lee Sin and that or even the Viego for Levi. I think you need to try and focus on more engage heavy support, or junglers, which is why I think you're looking at Sejuani, which was left open last one, now going to be banned away.
So that's Sejuani not going to go on through. Wouldn't be too surprised to see more jungle bans once again. But you could see some bans towards Glory coming on through. That's what we saw last time. Catty having his choice of the matchup. This time it's not the Syndra. He still banned... I mean, they banned the Ahri last time. They banned the Nico last time. We'll see what they go for the third ban this time. Whether it's that LeBlanc once again.
Yeah, I imagine it will be the LeBlanc can do relatively well against the Victor. Or the option is actually just to get rid of the Orianna and say, hey, look, no, we just want to make sure we are stronger in team fights. Because with the Team Wales having a lot of engage set up with the Rel, the Cassante, we saw how strong Sparta could be when he got rolling on that pick. Could be an option, but we'll have to see. Actually going to be the Nocturne banned away. I'm kind of surprised at that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, wasn't necessarily expecting a Nocturne ban. Does mean even more junglers off of the board. There are so many jungle bans in this one. Is Taliyah still wide open? And one of the big things we always say about Taliyah, things like the Orianna, things like the Azir do well into it, but Victor, not going to be I'll stop talking about it. It's not going to be the matchup. It's going to be the Viego locked in for PJ.
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly what Levi wants to go for. And you kind of need something that won't get pushed out.
Throw the gauntlet.
I mean, it probably is the Lee Sin, to be perfectly honest, because I just don't really know if there's much else. But you would like something that's a bit tankier. And I know Levi has played Zac in the past, but I think you end up falling too far behind if you go for something like that in the 1v1. So I think you have to go for the Lee Sin, which means Pallet needs a big engage tool. So maybe it is just an Nautilus. Could also be something like a Leona potentially here, just to make sure you've got the tanky stats that Nautilus doesn't really offer you as much as a Leona would.
Could well be that. I love that Levi's taking the Lee Sin, though. Literally running back the matchup the opposite way around. If he wins both of them, if that doesn't send a message to Team Wales, I don't know what will. BJ gonna have his work cut out for him. It's Team Wales, they've got to figure out what they want in this mid lane. The Taliyah has been the hover, and it will finally be locked in.
I really like the Talia here, because both the Unraveled Earth for the amount of dashes that are on GAM, but also then the wall for how immobile they are. Like, if you can burn a flash on towards the Zyre, the Victor, and then they have to try and approach an objective fight, there's very easy and multiple different angles of attack for you to try and use this Weaver's Wall to cut them off, and a ton of follow-up when you look towards, like, Artemis even being able to send himself in, but Sparta, BA will be super happy to get someone in that corner. So I'm excited to see now if Team Wells can try and fight back, because, again, I think they did a really good job in the early stages of the last game. They actually got a little bit of a lead, but it was starting to fall apart in the mid-game, and BJ and that were getting caught out. If you can take this a little bit slower and set up once more, or actually find setup for those fights, I think you'll be in an okay spot.
See if they're going to be able to find those moments. Palette, I'm looking towards him. The Leona, not a pick that we've been seeing a lot of really across the year, to be honest. It feels like this has been the first year in a long time where Leona has sort of fallen out of favor, but still can be an incredibly potent pick. With the Eclipse online, you're still incredibly tanky and can set up very well for tower dives.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where you're looking at. There's always the trade-off. Like, I know Nautilus is tanky in the early stages, but a late-game Nautilus just isn't really able to cut it, because you do have to fling yourself in, but you don't get a lot of the resistances that you get with, say, like an Alistar off the ultimate or the Leona off the W. So I think that's where, again, you're kind of going, right, I want something that can actually be that engage till it goes in, but survives the initial engage setup. And Nautilus just doesn't quite have it, and especially into stuff like the Rel, even Sparta. It just means that if you're going in as Nautilus, you're not getting back out. At least Leona has a bit of a chance to stick around for a while.
It's time to get Finite underway. Underway in Tacta. It's time to get into game number 2. And I'm hoping for Team Wales they can live up to what has happened throughout play-ins and get that second game on the board. They've lost game 1 of every single series in play-ins so far. We'll see if they can get back on top of things. And don't forget to connect your Prime Gaming account to your League of Legends account. You'll get yourself an experimentation emote to use across the course of this tournament. You spam that in solo queue. But I'm looking towards these compositions, Dag, there, and I can already feel like there's going to be action. Like Sparta and Kiaya, you know they're going to go toe-to-toe. Levi and BJ, you know they're going to go toe-to-toe. And down in that bottom lane as well, Rel versus Leona, I feel like that's a brawl just waiting to happen.
I mean, whenever you see Leona, it's just like, hey, jungler, down here, right here, I can set you up right here. And I think that's exactly what they might need in this engage, as Team Wells looking to do pretty much similar to last one, which is I thought was going to be get a word down. Yeah, there it is. And then back it on.
Yeah, well, Palette going to be shouting for Levi. We'll see if Levi very literally sees the light. Oh, he can't easily sin. He can't see anything.
And he's been spotted himself. It's a disaster. All the information going across to Team Wells because Lee Sin can't take the blindfold off.
It's a nightmare. It's a literal draft-based nightmare for the side of GAM. I am, of course, joking. Look, I'm not the guy to be commenting on good or bad drafts, realistically. I'll leave that to you, Dagda. As already fighting in that bottom side. We're looking towards these junglers, though, pathing in opposite directions as this sort of went a little longer than I expected to in the bottom side, but will diffuse in the end.
Yeah, still though, Artemis and BA being able to push back Paladins later and have control of the bush means that, as you can see here, it becomes very difficult for them to actually try and play up and contest the wave state. So Artemis and BA having a good control here, even with BJ on the bot side as well, means that if you take these bad trades, you could end up with a dive on bot side, but I think at the moment you don't want to, but maybe it is the level 2 dive. No, I was going to say, you don't have anyone tanky, but I saw how quickly they started to try and push this in and I wasn't certain.
Yeah, you never can be too sure in this kind of matchup as well, because it's not just the fact that it's a repeat of the VCS finals. It's also that, like, individually for these players, this is personal. And for Bia, who didn't get to play in that finals, he wants to show up, especially after game number 1, but he's rooted. Palette trying to get on top there. Just take a good chunk in return.
Nice interrupt from the Crash as well on the Zenith play. As Leona went in, just barely clipping him on the back end, means that Bia doesn't actually get stunned up. So split map at the moment, and going back to what used to be GAM style, like coming back before they added Slater into the mix, this is kind of how they wanted to play. Levi and Kiaya playing up towards this top side, making sure they're able to get good control. Levi or Kiaya even on the carry as well means that you're going to be in an okay spot to just let him continuously push in, try and find some advantages against Sparta. Although at the moment, Sparta, again on this Cassante, great game in the last one and hasn't really given up anything on that top end either.
And I want to kind of lend credence to the difference we're seeing in this series versus what we've realistically seen in terms of game pace from both of these Vietnamese teams across the course of this tournament so far, because in VCS, both of these teams, they like to fight, they like to be reasonably aggressive. You know, Team Wales, a bit of a slower pace, but that's in the context of the VCS, you know. It's still a reasonable pace. But across play-ins, they've been playing fairly slow. A lot of that is down to the fact that... Hang on. You never can get a point out. You never can get a point out. A lot of that is down to the fact that, you know, Asia Games really cut into a lot of scrim time for both of these teams. They didn't have their full rosters available to get practice in because of the schedule of Asia Games. So you can see that as the tournament's gone on, both teams have become more and more comfortable as they've been able to get more time on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one for me with Team Wales is that it's kind of the game one first for them. Although I will say last game was slightly different for them, simply because you end up... Oh, hang on, Levi?
Levi got caught out a couple of times last time, and he's caught out again. BeanJ and Glory trying to answer it. And it will be BeanJ to get first blood.
Nice body blocking from Glory as well, just to make sure that he takes a little bit more time to get to the wall so he can't flash over. And again, late ward hop from Levi, to be perfectly honest. I think he just needs to clear it out, got a bit greedy, try and finish off those Raptors, and ends up paying for it with his life.
So Team Wales off to a good start once again, which we saw from them in game number 1-2. Just whether or not they can follow it up. Kiaya is staying very aggressively here. It's a stun. Sparta buffers it. Walk away with their lives. I'm going to be honest, I was a little nervous for Kiaya there.
I think Kiaya was always going to match the back here, but was trying really hard to see if he could get the freeze off before he went for the reset, which is why BeanJ was up here with Sparta. But I think, as you say, if that W had landed, he would have been a goner. Here, though, you can see Levi throws the Sonic Wave because he wants to try and use his jungle guy to finish off the Raptors, but because of that, sticks around too long, late on the ward hop, and then even here, Glory just trying to get in front of him to try and prevent him from getting to the wall so he can't flash over. Nicely done, and just a bit of a mistake from Levi coming through.
Yeah. And realistically, even if he gets the flash off, Glory and BeanJ both with flash available, be caught in the jungle here. Levi, the previous death, certainly not going to slow down his game.
Yeah, I don't know if you really want to overextend there as Team Wales to try and contest that, though. You can see Artemis had control over bot side. He's about to crash this wave, so Artemis would have missed out on a lot of CS, and even where BeanJ was positioned, made it a bit difficult for him to get in. So they will just back away, but I like the GAM again. Once bitten, they aren't twice shy. They still want to get in and try and fight against everything and get control on the map where they can, using the push on bot.
They're going to be able to get this big old crash in. A little bit of a CS lead for Slater, but I think there's easily 10 minions in that wave that's just crashing right now. So reset will finally come through for Slater. First dragon onto the map. It does feel like Team Wales trying to get control of the area.
I think Team Wales are kind of responding to the fact that Sparta took a really bad trade in that top side, forced the reset. So, like, look, chances are Levi's going to be up on that top end, which is he is just because the pathing and the clearing has happened, and also trying to support Kiaya and getting the plate. So they're trying to cross-map it at the moment and say we need to try and get a dragon in response, as Levi is more than likely going to be looking to support Kiaya on that push in. So still, Kiaya getting a good lead and actually might get a good amount of damage on Sparta as he comes in here.
Sparta actually using the W a little bit early, but they all out to pull Kiaya back underneath the tower! Sparta once again punishing this top play.
This is Sparta! Every time Kiaya has tried to make a play on him in that top side, he's been absolutely decimated by this Cassante play, and that would have been it. Like, Levi just wanted to get Kiaya, hey, go for a trade, get him low, we finish him off. And now instead it's Levi who might be finished off as well as Glory in the area.
The exact same spot as last time. Glory trying to set it up for his team. That's flashed down for Levi. He's chunked on out, and Sparta and BA and BeanJ, the whole gang is here to ruin Levi's day.
There is always a lot more whales. They swim in packs and they find Levi in that one. Sparta getting the roam down means he's got absolutely nowhere to go except into the waiting hands of more Team Wales who've showed up.
Do you know, I don't know enough about whales to challenge whether or not they swim in packs.
They do swim. Is it a school? I know it's a school of fish, but they do swim as like baboons essentially. So it's and in family, no one gets left behind except for Levi, who's very much behind, and also Kiaya, who kind of got ruined here by Sparta with some fancy footwork. Again, getting in behind him, getting the knockback, and then Levi. I mean, is the chicken that tasty? Like, do you really need to extend twice and get caught in the same spot by the same play at the literally a minute and a half later?
I'm going to say yes because I too am a lover of chicken. I'm going to say worth there. Delicious.
The producers just admitted in my ear, whales travel in pods. So thank you
in
very
pods?
much, Deppa. Yeah. pods of 2 to 3. So, well, we kind of broke it there because there's about 4 of them.
Yeah.
So, little too many, but it still works out.
Team Wales, they're a big pod. They're a big pod. It may not be normal, but it's certainly looking good here and playing so far. Palette going for a dive here. Slater's here. Levi's here, but it's a great crash down from Bia. And actually, GAM taking a lot of damage so far, not getting much back as Artemis finally falls, but it's 1 for 1. Bia surviving, but they got Artemis down. He's going to lose so much CS.
That's a massive wave to lose, and GAM responding nicely there on that bottom side, getting the play. Glory actually going to ult in here just to pick up the wave. I like this, make sure that you can get enough of that experience. It's not just going to waste. You see the push coming through from Katy in the mid lane, though, means that you'll have the lane swap coming through from Artemis in towards the mid lane to try and catch that wave as it goes through. So Artemis still going to be substantially behind, whereas Glory going to pick up a little bit of an advantage off that, but nicely done from GAM in just getting that kill across.
Yeah, very nicely done. GAM sort of getting themselves a bit on the board again, because it felt like things were getting away from GAM here in game number 2. It felt like Team Wales was starting to find the advantage. As all out once again from Sparta. He goes back in onto the Counter-Strike, but he's just going to kill him.
No.
Palette tried to move up to turn the match up, but it just doesn't matter. Sparta is just decimating him.
Palette shows up and realizes Sparta's a forklift doing absolute work in this top lane. Catching out Kiaya again, 0-2 on the Jacks. Maybe BA looking to answer on that bot side again. I mean, what's going on in top lane? I don't understand. This is supposed to be the moment for Kiaya. I was like, let's go, you're gonna have a great time, and I don't know.
I mean, Kiaya's had such a good tournament, but I mean, we keep on talking about the fact that this is a rematch. These guys have played against each other before. Perhaps it's that Sparta he's figured him out, perhaps.
I think it's just this Cassante, to be perfectly honest, man.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Sparta's
I didn't want to
perfectly
say
happy to
it.
bring it out. Yeah.
You said the bit you don't say out loud.
Yeah, you said the inner thought out loud, but ooh, BA.
Go for a dive in the mid lane. Now it is going to be Katy going down. Glory to pick up the kill. Nice bit of coordination. Another pod play from Team Wales.
A positive. No, I was going to say positive, but positive. That didn't really
pod
work.
play.
Look, it's early.
It's a triple
I'm still
P is
working
what
on
it is.
But really, really nice play coming through from Team Wales again. And Sparta, get the replay here. Kay has just been taking like really bad trades again as this with the Sheen proc, the knockback, and also just able to get the knockback a second time there as the stun comes through, denies Palette the opportunity to come in, just going that bit early. And VA Hex Flash over the wall, sets up beautifully, and these are kind of the plays that you get to make with this triple threat essentially. Like the easy CC from Rel sets up both for BJ and Glory, so easy.
It does. Artemis having quite a quiet series so far. And as he's caught out, the feathers go in, but won't be able to pull back for the root as Artemis keeping himself alive with that cleanse. Now Katy once again. Flash still available, but I mean, where are you going to flash to there? Glory and BJ linking up and finding advantages.
And Sparta now going to be able to get plates on this, at least a plate, I'd say, on this top side. Riptown now moved in towards the mid lane, meets the plates there, and the only place that is really falling massively far behind is in this bot lane, but you can see player matchup there very firmly in favor of Team Wales, as they're going to pick up their second dragon. It looks like, again, the curse of Team Wales might be coming true. Lose game 1 to give teams false hope and come alive in game number 2.
Yeah, I was going to start making puns about GAM being Sharks after that first game, but it is feeling more like Krill than Sharks at this point, because 7-1 on the scoreboard, 3,000 gold lead. They've already got the 2 Drakes, in fact, 4,000 gold lead. I can't even count. 2 Drakes back to back now. They got the first Herald, looking towards the second one. Hey, aside from that 1 kill, this is basically a perfect game.
Yeah, it's been absolutely spectacular. And this is exactly what I was hoping to see from Team Wales, with kind of how they built up people's hopes over the course of this play-ins. Because as you say, doubted almost every step of the way. Now going up against a rematch of the team that beat them in the finals 3-1, and they're looking spectacular. We'll have to see if Team Wales can try and keep this one up. I love, again, the fact that we're getting Bay, working with BJ, and playing off of this mid lane, because I think this is how you should try to play around Atalia. Get the CC, set things up. You can even see here again, the second caddy is in lane. So are Bay and BJ.
That's going to be an ultimate down onto Artemis. He can walk away, Bia finds space for his AD carry there. Katy just desperate to crash this wave in, and will get a bit of help from Palette to do so. I'd love to hear what the strategy meeting coming into game number 2 was for Team Wales when they all huddled up in the pod. Because as far as I can tell, it's like, BJ, Glory work together, shut down Katy early so he can't be this monster carrying team fights. Artemis and Bia just kind of hang in there. Sparta, just slaughter Kiaya. Just absolutely annihilate 1v1.
Just do your thing again, same as game 1. I do love the idea that they speak in like whale analogies, which is like they are orcas, and like I don't know if people know, but like whales will just hate orcas and will go out of their way to like save seals that orcas are chasing and just attack the orcas. Yeah, they like have a personal vendetta against orcas. So I love the idea that like that's the analogy to go through. It's like, what are we? Whales. What are they? Orcas. Who are we going to save? The seals. It's like, it's all perfect. You know, it works out beautifully.
I've got to be honest, when you say it about, you know, Wales talking in a team chat, I thought you were going to go into Wales song for a second there. I was very close to doing it myself, but I'm not sure the viewers deserve that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm sure your Wales song is as amazing as your karaoke is, but we'll save them from that. As our Mascot Lane Economy Snapshot is going to save us from going down this rabbit hole with Sparta again looking fantastic in this top side. 3 kills, plates galore from as well. 2 dragons across the Team Wales. I think this is now where I'm going to, it's a case of how the hell do GAM try and slow down the pace of this game? Because they still have a Victor, they still have the Zaya who will come on in the later portion, but it feels like you need to try and find those same picks that broke up in the game last time. See if you can give you an opportunity, because I will say this is a bit of a weird timing with your jungler on the bottom side.
Yeah, it's not often you see the AD carry come up and solo the Rift Herald, but that's the world we're living in. As Artemis grabs that one for himself. And as you rightly say, you know, game number 1, our snapshot looked reasonably similar to this, but then it came down to the way that they were moving on the map. GAM finding these individual picks on Pia, on BJ, and then like kind of snowballing off the back of that, finding tier 2 towers. I mean, Catty last game had so much solo tower gold in those side lanes on his Syndra. This time around though, I don't think he'll be able to have that same presence in the lane, that same pressure on the Victor.
Yeah, the fact he's 0-2 as well is not the best at times, because when we think back to the last game, like 6-1, I think he was by the end of the game, so significantly more impact on the Syndra, and I think that's where Team Wales kind of correctly identified that Catty was just such a big playmaker. Now, maybe in trouble.
Glory taking a hit to try and get this damage down. Pallet going to be the target as BJ dives in, forcing the flash, but it's BJ's flash in trade for it.
And Sparta going to move back down to the bot side to respond to Kiaya, who thought maybe he'd get some alone time with this turret, but not going to be able to do so. Also, the fact that now, again, you do have the Rift Herald in Artemis' back pocket means we need to keep our eyes on where Artemis is positioned, because as he moves up towards his top side with multiple members of GAM.
Via, you're really far forward, but so is apparently Levi caught out on the top side of the play. I thought that was BS overstepping, just like game number 1. But I'm proven wrong. Team Wales finding these advantages once again. All over the wall. Onto Catty. BJ absolutely shredding the health bar here as Glory flies in as well. Trying to deny the flash here. Ignite. Burning away. The first strike is there! Catty, no matter how the game goes, he's still finding these kills.
I was not expecting the Leandri's Anguish first strike proc to take down Glory there, but Catty calculated right as we were saying, hey, this guy needs to kind of step up his game. He massively does so, and Glory way overextended on that one. Thought he'd be able to get the flick back, tries to predict if it doesn't happen. Now, this is a great pick here. So stun lands, flick back for Glory, easy as like, beautiful combo. But at this stage, just like, right, let's just take tower. Like, let's try and use the advantages that we have. But they end up trying to overextend here as BJ gets a nice play onto Catty as he comes in over the wall and gets good damage. But again, you can just call quits at this stage. There's no need to overchase. Glory going too far forward. The ult comes down, doesn't get the flick back, and then the Leandri's Anguish first strike combo. The thing I didn't know I needed at this time.
I've got to be honest. Glory doing a bit of a double lift right there. Goes right into the face of a Victor who just turns around and goes, no, one-shots them.
Why is he going to catch strays like that?
Brutal. Yeah, a lot of damage coming out. It's not an interaction you see often, is it? The first strike proc off of the Leandris, but here we go. Combo onto Pallet. BJ trying to chase it up as well. They don't want to go too far forwards. Catty is here, trying to punish, and it's a great kick from Levi to turn the fight. Catty the one to go down, though. Team Wales still a pod ahead in this one. Slater versus Artemis. And Artemis chasing Slater out of the jungle.
You're not quite able to get into position, but here we go. Kiaya, how quickly can you run? BJ on the chase, doesn't have his stun for another 2 seconds.
Yeah, should go down here, honestly. Ward hop, though. Bia trying to get the crash down, trying to get the stun. And the blast cone might be enough, but no! Pulled out of the air by Sparta. Another ward hop to get to safety. Kiaya still has his flash. How the hell has he got away with that?
Kiaya styling on them a little bit, but it's styling on them to retreat. And it means that now it's on the attack for Team Wales, although now they got to retreat themselves.
Is that Catty TPing in behind enemy lines? He's gone 1v4 for this one. Chaos Storm comes down, the stun though. BJ burning, Sparta buying space for his team. Team Wales will get away, and in the meantime, Glory takes tier 1 on the bottom side.
Yeah, I think overextension there for GAM. They really wanted to get Catty in a position, but with no one to really set up, actually, as the Weaver's Wall would come through just to keep him off the turret. And they really wanted to try and set up with the TP from Catty to get the gravity well to keep GAM and our Team Wales in check, but unable to do so with the amount of escapes that Team Wales have. So just ends up burning the TP. Not really going to be able to pick up too much on the map. Maybe they'll get top tower, but just it's a nice pick for Team Wales to get Dragon, and immediately they see their opportunity here to turn on to Pallet, who, I mean, why did you need a ward there? Let's be real. Like, you already know Catty's just going to clear out that wave and then back off. You can try and support him underneath the tower, but this deep into River when you know they've just done Dragon, it's just going to set up perfectly for Team Wales to pick you off. And then Kiaya with the hero escape on the backside.
So, we return for a second to normalcy. 5k gold lead, like you say, picking up that Drake, so that makes it 3 now for Team Wales. 1 away from a soul for them, and again, Cassante with Chemtech, he's like the best in the game at using that soul for himself. Team Wales setting up for a potential Baron right here. So they've got vision of the area, not going to just pull the trigger just yet.
Yeah, I think they need to wait a little bit of time. You can see where Glory's position on the map, doesn't have Weaver's Wall, doesn't have TP, so he wants to try and create pressure on this bottom side before he comes into these fights, so just getting the vision control down for the moment in case they do want to try and bait it later on. But they do have some ability to burn down the Baron, but realistically, I think they just need to try and play it side lanes before they try to over-aggress and just wait for their 4th Dragon.
We've got that lethality Kaiser coming out from Artemis in this one. However, this is not the same as, like, you know, yesterday we saw a lot of Twitter conversation about that build. Better draft for it. Glory trying to find a pick onto Kiaya here, and the flick back available. The rest of the gang is here. The whole pod arriving to try and get Kiaya. This time they find his flash.
And this time GAM are in position to actually threaten the mid lane turret, so we're going to burn this one down and try and exit out towards that bottom side of the map. I don't know, though, if what Team Wales want to try and achieve here. They're in a bit of a weird spot.
Glory's gone quite deep for this one, but the rest of the team is on the way. Slater in trouble. Levi jumps to his teammate, already low on HP and force flash. Pallet buying space for his team as in goes Artemis in the 1v3. Gets out of his life. Catty chasing him, forces the flash from Artemis, but it's 1 kill onto Pallet so far. Catty cannot escape either, and Glory happy to chase for this one. Wants an extra kill onto his opposite man. He's burning. Catty is burning. Beer finishes him off, shatters him to pieces.
Gets Lance down where he stands, and now Team Wales, having picked off the support of the mid laner, they're going to turn over towards the Baron. Going to take a little bit of time before the support and the mid laner can get there, but Levi, he's about to show on bot side. Team Wales coming alive as per usual in game 2.
Certainly are. 11-2 scoreline as they grab the Baron for themselves. What a mid game, way less mistakes than game number 1.
I mean, for this, Glory overextend. Well, sorry, this was a good setup. It's just that the team wasn't in place to try and follow up quick enough before the wall goes down. And at that stage, then you got Pallet who gets caught out on the top side. Artemis is trying to escape as Catty flashes for it to try and finish off Artemis. But it's these overextensions then that mean that Team Wales are able to continue to follow up on this one. So Team Wales putting their foot down in a position where they were just so incredibly strong.
So now we need to see clean gameplay from the Wales if they're going to finish this one out. They've got the Red Bull Baron power play on their side. BJ getting a little dicey with it. And BJ was one of the repeat offenders in game number 1. Overstepping, getting caught out, him and Mia both of them now deathless in game 2. Feels like the coaching staff had a serious word with those 2 players as Sparta zoning the enemy squad away. Dragon down. That Soul. Bia gets a great crash down onto the backline, and Gamma gone before the fight's even begun. Levi gets one on the backside, but it's nowhere near enough. BJ finishing them off as he dives forwards towards Catty. He's not getting anywhere. It's an ace for the side of Team Wales. It's a soul for the side of Team Wales, and it might just be game for the side of Team Wales.
A glorious flick back from the Talia, gets the double stun onto Kiaya and Pallet, and then sets up that fight. Team Wales are going to be able to crack open the base easily now. This has been a significantly more confident play from Team Wales, and for the opportunity to now represent the VCS going into the main stage at Worlds, both these teams dying to get their hands on that spot.
They certainly are. And GAM proving, Wales proving once again that they're not going to let GAM get away with it easy. Not going to let this be a clean series.
Look at the flick back here. Glory straight onto Pallet and Yaya trying to get onto Sparta, which then sets up perfectly here for the team to follow through this choke point. Sparta ends up in the back line as well, so BJ able to follow up alongside him, and they just rip through everyone on GAM.
I love BJ holding the ultimate there as well. Wanted to get some feathers out first, wanted to get value out of being Slater for a moment there. Even though, actually, same amount of items for BJ. Yeah. I feel like he probably does similar damage to what Slater's able to at this point in the game.
It's also, don't forget, a lot of people, the W on Xayah gives you movement speed towards people. So the longer you can stay in the Xayah, the quicker you're going to be able to chase down Caddy. So nicely done by BJ to just make sure he can actually close that distance. And as you say, get a bit of damage off before he crashes down on top of them. But yeah, now in a position where he wants to try and crash down on GAM inside their own base, as it's Kiaya on the split push. But here comes a Weaver's Wall to cut off everyone from this top tower.
Nice wall here just to secure the objective. Kiaya trying to get some bounty gold there on the top side of the map, but I'm not sure that little gold injection is going to be enough to turn this game. He'll get a tier 2, but it's in trade for an inhib in the top lane, potentially a second inhib in the mid lane as well, although the Baron has now timed out. We'll see if Team Wales want to keep pressing here. They don't have the greatest siege comp in the world.
Yeah, I think it's more a case of if they can get the pick. Yeah, that's where I'm like, if you can find Pallet or find an opportunity. This tower is very low, but the wave clear is pretty substantial from Slater and Kati, so they're just going to back away. So you still get an inhibitor for the tier 2 tower, which you're going to be pretty happy with, because realistically, there's not going to be much chance for the Jacks to try and continue pushing on towards that inhibitor turret on the bottom side. So you reset, come back out of the map, spend your gold. You still 2 minutes before Baron, so maybe you can get a wave pushed in and at least establish vision. Oh, well, I was going to say they already have a lot of vision control on that top side, but kind of re-establish control over that and then lean back in towards Baron. And if you're Kati or Slater trying to move through these choke points to get into River, like Bay's going to be happy, Glory with flick backs. We've already seen these fights happen once before, and it's gone so heavily in favor of Team Wales.
Minute and a half until the Baron comes back onto the map. BJ actually ults out on this one, but Pallet has gone too deep, stunned up. The reset on BJ's ult as well, as Artemis doesn't have a lot of mana to fly in with, but he does have a blue buff. W's flying in at this point as Sparta just goes for the dive, pulls the enemy jungler back into the fray as BJ going further in on this one. It's another pick as Sparta, the absolute man of the hour for Team Wales right here, decimating the laning phase and finding these moments in the late game.
And now finding a second inhibitor for Team Wales. BJ started on the bot one, but said, what are we doing? This is the end. This is going to be a Team Wales victory.
Should be able to finish it off now. First Nexus turret low. Kati on the Victor, Slater on the Xayah. They've got to make magic happen to stay in this one. It's a good stun from Kiaya, but a stun is all they will find. Pallet goes down, the Nexus will fall, and Team Wales, they show us why they were the second seed out from the VCS, and more importantly, why they were the first seed coming into this matchup.
It's very, very similar to what we saw in the VCS finals, though. Game 1 going across to, Game 2 going across to Team Wales after they just lost the first game to GAM. So this is where I want to see if Team Wales can rewrite that story here today, or whether it's going to be the bounce back now from GAM coming into Game 3. Phenomenal performance, though, from Team Wales in this one. It has been absolutely incredible to see how they have come alive at every single chance.
Worst possible moment there. Yeah. Production cuts to a side, the fan puts the side down. Disaster. Absolute elation here for Team Wales, though. And the speed at which both teams got off of the stage there, they're in game mode. This is a best of 5. They know what's on the line, and you can see plenty to discuss off the back of that win.
Yeah, I mean, for Team Wales, you're going to be absolutely thrilled again. Sparta this K'Sante has to go. Like, he has been so incredibly strong on it. Again, Kati just kind of muted off of the Talia play coming through from the mid lane, and Bia getting those great roams off. This is what Team Wales, we wanted to see them try and achieve here against GAM, and now it's going to be GAM who has to try and bounce back.
It certainly is. Once again, Team Wales bounce back in a series here at Worlds 2023. Let's see if they can keep the trend going and take a huge step towards the Swiss stage.
Bringing in a new roommate to save money, is that the plan?
Say hi to Glenn from work.
Yeah, I think I have a much better plan. We switched to my plan from Verizon.
That is a good plan. Glenn.
Get my plan starting at just $25 when you bring your own phones. Plus, save when you add perks like the Disney Bundle. It's your Verizon.
Simply because you end up... Oh, hang on.
Levi got caught out a couple of times last time, and he's caught out again. BJ and Glory trying to answer it.
But, oh, Bia.
Going for a dive in the mid lane, and that is going to be Kati going down. Absolutely shredding the health bar here as Glory flies in as well. Trying to deny the flash here. Ignite, burning away. The first strike is there! Dragon down that soul. Bia gets a great crash down onto the backline, and Gamma gone before the fight's even begun. Levi gets one on the backside, but it's nowhere near enough. BJ finishing them off.
The VCS Autumn Final, World Play-Ins 2023 continues here. We're all tied up at 1-1. Team Wales just smashed GAM in game number 2. Raz, what happened?
Don't ask me, ask this man.
Go
we
for it,
are
what happened?
trillionaires, baby. The whales are back. We're chilling. You know, I was just sitting there listening to some relaxing whale noises. And, you know, we were just, it was a walk in the park, a swim in the ocean, whatever you want to call it. Water was shallow, no waves, really. We're just cruising through it, weren't we?
We got overconfident. That's what happened.
Okay.
We had a top lane advantage. The CS difference
Wait,
was
so
pretty
you had a top
massive.
lane advantage? Because I remember a solo kill coming through from, what was that, Sparta?
It was the turret that was doing the majority of the work.
The turret.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it, okay?
I think we need to get to it right now, as a matter of fact. We're pushing this forward. Like, you're right, Kiaya had a massive advantage, but then threw it all away with his dive.
I was going to say as well, I think, once again, I want to put this out there. I think Kiaya's, in the entire tournament so far, has by far been the better top laner. But
okay, stop him right there.
In this series right here, that is just Sparta who's been popping off. And I think he was the guy I had the most question marks coming into this series with, especially because he was going to go up against Kiaya.
Yeah.
But when he is on K'Sante, they just cannot stop him. He keeps getting kills for himself. He keeps being a menace in the team fights. He keeps getting solo kills. You have to stop this guy.
Yes, it's crazy to see what Sparta is doing to him. And even just seeing the player reactions, specifically zeroing in on Kiaya, a little bit of tilt because he knows he's doing well in the matchup, and then he throws it away. But Sparta, who I think has turned into a star, it feels like getting beaten up a little bit by Adam and then turning it in the later portion of the series, and then also he's doing it this series from the very beginning.
I mean, you would have expected, you know, the Jax comes in, you're sort of losing the lane. Enemy Lee Sin was on the top side of the map as well. Like, by all accounts, going for a dive in that situation makes sense with the proximity of your jungler. But he outplays that a couple of times now. He's on a roll.
And it also just brings us to the point that I think everyone probably has been screaming at their scream as of today. Just ban the K'Sante.
Ban the K'Sante.
Just, like, it just gives you superpowers. It makes you way better than you actually are when you play K'Sante. I'm willing to die on that hill. I think Sparta is stepping up. I think he's certainly shown some good movements. But in the VCS, he was an Aatrox, he was a Renekton, and those were the kind of champions he would play, and he'd be very flippy with it. He'd take risk and chances, and if he lost, well, he would straight up lose and just lose the lane from there, and maybe sometime the team the game. But when he's on a champion on Cassandra, he's way more stable. It's not even neutralizing. It's just a free win. Get rid of it and put him in a different spot where Kiai can be in a comfort zone, and he can actually beat Sparta.
Well, let's talk specifics here, because now we've got the draft up on our screen, and GAM, to the surprise of myself at least, decided to stick on to blue side with side selection choice. I was thinking maybe just go red side, you leave the Cassandra open, and you make sure you have counter pick for it. But they're electing to go to blue again, which means, do you want to see first phase Cassandra banned?
I mean, I think they can swap out the Alistar and then actually remove that with Cassandra instead, because the Alistar ban really hurt them going into this game. When they ban Alistar on 3, first pick Asaya, well, all of a sudden, the Well priority is absolutely insane. You keep the Flex alive, but you also just remove the hardest counter to this champion. So I think if you leave the Alistar and Rel both open, you can at least swap the Alistar if the Rel gets picked through, and you can have Cassandra ban, where you get Kiai on a comfort matchup. So I think that's the easiest one to remove.
Yeah, one of the negatives that you get on red side is that you are kind of in locked bans for OPs that you don't want to give away. They feel like they have a wealth of option. The ban on Syndra was great from Team Wales, so that hurts a little bit deep down. But I know Caddy can stand back up. I think that the 5 picks that we've been seeing from Team Wales has been really helping them. The Talia pick has been actually accelerating the game a lot from the early leads. I will say one thing and one thing alone.
Say it.
Raptors is killing a lot of the VCS junglers.
That is very true.
Raptors has been claiming a lot of lives. We cannot be invading Raptors anymore.
I wonder how many times those Raptors have killed a jungler. There was Croc yesterday.
Yes.
We had Croc dying to those Raptors before Baron yesterday.
Yes.
Levi 2 times already to
2
those
times
Raptors.
in the same game.
Can we get a stat check on those Raptors? I swear they've been killing more junglers.
I thought the Whales were going to be the dominant animal today, but apparently it is just the Raptors coming in. You know, speaking of those junglers, I just wanted to sort of throw out there, like, Viego's now had a couple of solid games.
Yes.
Do we feel like priority on a champion like that could be raised? Because I think especially in the fights it's looked good. It also didn't get outplayed really early on by the lead.
I think it's interesting because I think it's kind of like a butterfly effect of what the meta shaped up to be. As soon as Maokai and Sejuani goes out of the way and there's a Lee Sin coming through instead, that means Viego, the skirmishing power he suddenly has, becomes way more relevant than it would be against the Maokai, where Maokai will just W, old CC chain, and he can't really play the game. But in this instance where the champions are so squishy, you get way more resets on your ultimate. It becomes way easier to play the game. And I think that if they're going to go down the same route where these is the trade-off between Lee Sin and Viego, I think the Viego is just going to be dominant every time.
I think the only way in which we change the pick bans is by early picking jungle, which has been usually standard. We have been having earlier picks on top lane, with Jax being second round picks. So if that's going to be the change up, if we say, hey, you know what, let's early pick something for Levi and then we'll hold top lane pick for 4-5, then maybe we'll see a switch up. With how the early game has been going, GAM, I feel like, have a reason to be stubborn. Their bot lane, which was the question mark going into this series, has actually been pretty stable because of the Xayah pick. So they've been really happy about that. It's more so just the level of play on the top side. Kiaya just needs to change how he's playing the matchup. Yes, I think Cassandra is really difficult to play in if you just make one mistake. So that, I think, is the change-up. That's the one ban that I think they go for. Give them the Ahri. I don't care about Ahri pick.
Okay.
I think that's the one change-up you make, is that you ban the Ahri. I mean, you ban the Cassandra, leave the Ahri open. If they pick Ahri, then I'm happy about that. It's been one of the failures in the tournament as a pick.
I'm just saying, you know, it's Glory's most picked champion. You're not a bit scared of giving to a high-key, world's #1 mid laner like Glory.
I'm happy with that.
So you say ban the Ahri, you say, or leave the Ahri open, you say leave the All-Star open. Both of you say ban Cassandra. We will see what GAM say. It's over to Munch and Dagda for Game 3.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, we're here. We're ready. Game 3 coming. We've got a series, not just on our hands, all over our hands, with how messy this series has been so far. Honestly, I wish we had some hand sanitizer in here.
Wash off,
yeah, it's a nightmare. No, absolute banger, though, so far. And I couldn't agree more with the desk. Cassandra's got to go.
Yeah, I think Cassandra has just been such a big pick for Sparta and kind of just keeping Kiaya at bay. I mean, Kiaya was such a strong component for them yesterday, where we saw him having a fantastic performance on the Nara, but unfortunately hasn't been able to have that same performance coming into today, just simply because he's up against the Cassandra. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that taken off the board. I kind of agree. I think Alistair is probably the ban that you do want to try and drop. I think I'm on Team Raz here, but I do want to see, as we start to go into this, what the game plan is going to be, because there is the Ahri ban still coming through here, as Team Wales will still be on the red side coming into this Game 3.
So, Syndra taken away from Catty. Both mid laners demanding a ban from the opposite team. And that's the question, I guess. We always talk about how drafts develop over a series. Do we end up with just more and more solo lane bans? It's a jungle ban here in the Viego. It won the matchup against Lee Sin both games so far. GAM deciding they don't want to deal with it anymore.
Wonder if it's going to be the Maokai still going through. And now, is this a Cassante ban? Or do we still get kind of the same rotation coming through where it's you leave open the Cassante, then Team Wells leave open the Xayah, and you get that first rotation Xayah coming through here for Slater?
Let's find out what they're going to go for.
There it is. Okay.
Cassante confirmed, taken off the board. What does Sparta do next is the question. What else does he have up his sleeve? And can he have this level of performance on a different pick? Because I think that's the real question. We know that he can, you know, he's certainly not going to be incapable of playing another champion. It's whether or not he can pop off in the way that he has been on Cassante.
Yeah, I think even just stabilizing the top lane, though, is enough for Sparta. Like, as long as Kiaya isn't getting leads, he's not having that impact. And a lot of this team fight and kind of early stages is being defined by, you know, BJ and BA working together towards glory. So I think as long as he can keep himself in check, it's going to be all good. But I have to see exactly what the game plan is going to be, though, because again, Xayah rotation still coming through with the Rakan still being banned away. So I imagine it will still be something like the Kai'Sa, and then the question mark is if they want to go towards the Rel again, which was the first pick in that last rotation. It looks like if it ain't broke, maybe don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, Team Wales, they were on the red side previously. They played with Artemis on the Kai'Sa, with the Rel for Beer. Certainly feels like a strong rotation. And there we go, the Jarvan as well, taken up by BJ. And basically say, look, Levi, you've banned the Viego. If you want that Lee Sin, have it. But I'm going to play something a little tanky, something that has some presence in that early game.
Yeah, and now it is kind of a question mark for me is like, how do you want to try and play this? Because what we've seen from a lot of teams, particularly like the BCS teams, a little bit from the VCS teams, is this Nico Jarvan combo. That has been banned away on the next rotation pretty consistently by GAM, as it looks like they'll go towards the Jax. But I think there is an opportunity here for Team Wales to say, hey, look, we can maybe sack bot lane. We'll expect a Kai'Sa ban. Maybe we can actually go back towards a lot of the lane bullies that I think are actually quite strong, like the Lucians and that kind of stuff, if they want to try and go towards it. But maybe getting this Nico for glory is worth it. We'll just have to see if they have that thought process, if they're like, no, Kai'Sa's just too strong. We need to keep our control over bot lane.
Want to see. Is Kansi actually going to go for the Nautilus in the end? Kiaya having that Jax. We'll see what the priority is for Wales here, because on the one hand, obviously Kai'Sa, like I think that goes without saying at this point, but yeah, strong solo lane in the mid lane for glory, or also getting a good matchup for Sparta in the top side against Levi against Kiaya's Jax. Sorry, it is going to be the Kai'Sa locked in the end.
Yeah, you could see the thought process was there. Maybe we just go for the mid laner instead, but not going to be the case. They're like, look, Kai'Sa needs to be able to battle against the Xayah in the early stages. We'll have to see if we can actually find that control here, because I thought we'd actually get the Alistar, honestly, for Palace. I think it works super well against the Rel, and also just gives the opportunity to kind of keep Jarvan out of the fight in a lot of different moments as well. But instead opting towards the, hey, we want the point and click CC for the expected Kai'Sa coming through. Jungle ban's going to be the big lock away here, though. Nocturne gone. Maybe the Sejuani here again for Levi to just get rid of more of that front line. And then the question is, do we just get the return to the Lee Sin? Because that kind of seems to be the next tier down when we get to junglers.
I will say, Lee Sin across playoffs so far, 7-1, and the 7 is for the losses. It's only one win for Lee Sin. Already lost twice in this series to buff up that statistic. If I'm either of these teams right now, with the way that it's looked across this series, I mean, I don't think Lee Sin was inherently the problem, but I don't think it's working either.
I'm not going to lie. Poppy feels like it should have been a Team Wales ban. I would be like, you know what, Levi, Poppy? Maybe he's actually a good go-to here. You know, stop the Jarvan, the Rel, the Kai'Sa, like a lot of those opportunities, but instead they're actually going to ban away themselves, not wanting Sparta to get on the top side. Is a good matchup into the Jax, so it does make a little bit of sense, but now I am curious if Sparta just decides to opt back in towards things like the Renekton along those lines. Obviously, Jax does have the outscaling, but at least will allow Sparta to neutralize some of the early pressure and see if he can play in towards that. Aatrox kind of fitting that description as well, but yeah, we'll go towards the Renekton.
So, important statistic here when it comes to Sparta on the Renekton is his most played by a significant margin. Across summer, he played it 21 times. However, he's not got a great win rate, 38% win rate. He has had a hard year on the Renekton. It's not necessarily been his best pick. We'll see if he can kind of shirked those expectations? Because, I mean, across this tournament so far, Sparta has absolutely stepped up above what we were expecting. And now, Catty changing things up and going for the Jace in the mid lane.
Okay, I actually wasn't sure if they're going to go for the Ivern in the jungle there to try and match that, but instead they're just going to go back towards the Sejuani. So you kind of get some mixed damage coming out from the Sejuani, and the Jack's enough to try and make up for your AP damage, so won't be as difficult, but still nice here from GAM. You're going to have a ton of opportunities to try and play for skirmish on this top side of the map, and I'll have to see exactly. I don't think the A-Style can really stand up to Jace. I'd be surprised to see this locked in, even though it's Hubbard.
We'll have to see. We'll wait for the lock-in. There it is. It's going to be the I nearly called her Rel then. It's going to be the Talia in the mid lane for Glory to try and get roaming, try and get out on this map. A different look here for Wales on what they're bringing to the table, but I'm excited to see how this is going to pan out. And also GAM bringing this Jace. Catty very much changing the conversation from the Victor that was played last game.
I mean, this is definitely a more aggressive take, trying to see if you can play for poke, and I think this is where you can have some opportunities, especially with the engage from the Nautilus to try and get a knock up onto, say, Artemis, and then you follow up with the Accelerate Shock Blast. You've got great ability to even use those acceleration gates to speed up the team to follow up on engages. But it definitely means that for GAM, you need to try and play through this mid-jungle particularly hard, because, again, you've got a very, very strong teamfight combo coming in on Team Wales, and it feels like if you don't get control in the early stages, Immobile Jace, Immobile Xayah, against what is a very aggressive Jarvan that can cover a lot of distance, is going to make it kind of tough for you to play that long-range poke style.
Now I was just perusing a few statistics here back there, and, you know, Catty, we've not seen him playing the Jace here at the World Championship just yet. However, across summer, he has played it 7 times, in fact. And he's yet to lose a game on the Jace this summer. He's been looking fantastic. 4 KDA, 100% win rate. 7-0 on the Jace domestically. And, you know, usually the question is, you know, you've done that domestically. Can you do it internationally? This is a domestic match. He is essentially still playing domestically on this Jace. So we'll see what he can do. Catty being very much a shining light for his team across this series. Let's see if GAM can get back on the horse.
The domestic grudge match coming in hot for both these sides. We'll have to see if, as you say, GAM could try and bounce back after that last loss, or well, actually, to continue what has been kind of the story of the times these teams have faced off the best of 5, where 3-1 over towards GAM. But Team Wales, I mean, they've looked like a very different beast coming in towards play. It's been fantastic to see the growth that we've got. Even the link-up that we've seen through BJ and VA has been fantastic in the last game. And I really hope that they get to continue that play forward coming into this.
See if they can keep that rolling. Team Wales as well, looking to build a reputation. This is their first international tournament as an organization. BJ coming over from the sort of collapse of Saigon Buffalo back in spring. That somewhat super team from the region dispersing among other teams. You know, Team Secret getting a lot stronger from that as well. But Team Wales getting BJ and becoming a much stronger unit because of it. But so far, slower early game here. No early vision on either side.
I was going to say, even the fact that Team Wales are in this position, right? Like, they had to do a run through their playoffs, beating out the 3rd, 4th, and 5th seed to make sure that they could actually get here. Coming in, it was not an easy road. They had 2 best-of-5 series that went the full distance, and then unfortunately losing out in the finals in that 4-game series. Like, it has been a lot of games for this squad. And now performing massively, stepping up on this international stage. We'll have to see which one of these teams is going to represent the VCS in the main stage of Worlds. And I think even for the region of VCS, like, this has got to be such a proud moment. This has been so long where even like for guys like Artemis, right, 2021, he kind of denied his opportunity to play an international stage because of COVID. They've had so many issues getting to an international stage, and now they are guaranteeing themselves once more to play with the big boys and see if maybe they can have that upset like we saw against Top Esports. You know, just throw a little bit of curveball into the mix there.
And I mean, the thing is, that was you know, that was in the group stage previously. We don't have a group stage anymore. It's Swiss now, so it's changing things up. One of these teams is going to make it to that part of the tournament. Beer taking a huge chunk there, not quite respecting the level 2 that was hitting Pallet, flashing forwards to punish.
It's actually even just the flash forward before the level 2 came through from Pallet. So nicely done there to just make sure he could actually get a little bit of a little bit of control over this lane. Set B behind. He'll burn both of his pots there to make sure that he's going to be in an okay spot. And even though, BJ, he's immediately moving down here. He wants to get a gank here. Or at least cover even for a potential dive.
Yeah. He's worried that Levi is down here trying to go for the dive. It's not going to happen. And
can he sneak past him?
I mean, the thing is, there's so many minions here. Like, Artemis will miss out on a lot of gold if they don't get a kill off of this gank. It could be disastrous. For the side of Team Wales, they're going to get the knock up onto Pallet. He already used his flash, but Beer's just going to go down anyway.
Wait, two?
Three! Slater! Can't quite find the second one. Artemis trading here. Slater and Artemis, they won't be able to finish any further kills off. BJ gets out by the skin of his teeth.
Barely able to escape away from that one. Great turnaround from GAM. And again, oh, actually, hang on, Glory, you're in so much trouble.
Does have his flash available, but luckily, they'll just sort of position it out on this one.
You're going to be able to back away, but again, really nice play on the bot side. As you said, Artemis, you can see in the CS, misses out on all those minions to try and make that play happen. And the fact it went as disastrously as it did means that it's a big win for GAM. And look at BJ, right? He's also behind. Only cleared out that red on the top side, so he has to go back up to the top end of the map to try and make sure that he can just catch up on double the CS amount that Levi now has with picking up both those scuttle traps.
It's a brutal start, honestly, for Team Wales. And to be honest, both games previously have been looking good for Wales to start the game off, but this time not so much. Artemis has some available. Flash, cleanse, both used, and he'll still go down. Slater was tanking, so he has to flash out. And now a TP coming on through as well. Beer trying to keep them in the play as Glory arrives on the scene, looking for the stun to set up for the flick back here. Glory getting some damage down. He's waiting for them to get over the wall. Doesn't want to use his flick until Levi has already used the gap close, and it secures the kill. BJ chasing for more, but it's at least a second for Wales.
One kill going across to Glory does help out, but Slater, he way overextended.
No flash available for Bia, but he's got the movement speed. That's a shattering strike. BJ should be able to finish this one. No flash available for him. There's the knockup, and Glory getting both is gorgeous for Wales.
Greedy Slater ends up overextending on that bot side. Could have just backed away. And I was about to say, even though it was a 1-for-1, it works out well for GAM, right? Because you get the kill and you end up burning Artemis's opportunity to pick up all that CS in the bot lane. And as long as you back away at that stage, you're in good shape. But because you end up with Slater overextending, another kill going across, and specifically to Artemis, means he's able to correct some of that gold discrepancy in that bot lane. And now it'll help massively for Team Wales to even up that gold difference.
Glory as well, get 2 kills. Really going to accelerate. Now, we can take another look as BJ just pretty much gets to walk in. Oh, this is the first play, in fact.
I mean, level 3 versus level 2, you get so much extra gold value from your stats on those plays when you have that level advantage when they play it perfectly. Artemis gets a good flash here. Holiday actually hooks himself out of range. Slater's forced to flash, but at this stage, just back it up. Call it a day. Like, you know that you're in a terrible spot with the first move coming through from BJ and the TP onto the bottom side as well, so just try and escape wherever you can. But with Slater then overextending, try and push the wave in and get that collapse, he ends up overextending and catching himself off.
Slater needed to, like I say, call it a day on that one, needed to back away. Flag and drag, knocks it up. Glory with the flick back off the back of it. Perfect combo. And I have to say, that trio of champions, Jarvan, Rel with the Talia, it's impossible to get away if they get onto and Sparta. He's got onto Kiaya. Not again. Surely not again. Forces the flash. Sparta, he owns this top lane matchup. Pallet now moving into the bottom side, but Beer dodges.
Yeah, I mean, Kiaya has had a terrible time against Sparta. Now trying to see... Oh, that's the kill!
Oh my god! The counter-strike comes on through. Sparta wanted the solo kill. BJ, he'll get an assist on this one, but it is all Sparta all day long, Dagda.
This is so messy from Kiaya. Tries to stay underneath the tower, but Sparta was so strong. Even the level up coming through isn't enough to save him. Will get the plate, gets the kill. The wave is now missed as well, and you can see already that the Gore Drinker is going to be well underway now. I think they would have liked to give that kill to Sparta. May actually just be shy of the Gore Drinker. Yeah, it looks like he is. But even then, this is a big, big win for the Croc on the top side. That 31% win rate looking a little bit better this time around.
Yeah, he's looking to remedy that. And honestly, I feel like that's a great allegory for this tournament in general. Sparta was a player that didn't come in with massive expectations. Kiaya, the opposite side of that story. But here today, we're seeing this slow build from Team Wales. It's the story of each individual series, but it's also the story of their grander tournament.
I need to see if Team Wales, though, can try and keep this pressure up. Because on bot side, it becomes very, very difficult to try and make the same plays we got in the last game, where you're like, oh, let's try and rotate BA around the map, because we just don't have the control that we want around our bot side. That's why when you even look at it, it's first push for Slater and Pallet on that bot lane, so they rotate up to Rift Herald, and Team Wales aren't even going to try and contest this, which I think is the right call. But it has to be a case of, okay, now let's try and continue to play around Sparta, which is a very different look for them. But try to see if we can put Kiaya behind, get some turret plates, and then have this Croc be an absolute menace when we hit that mid-game point, especially if we can start to contest for, say, second Dragon, because we've already got a Gore Drinker complete onto Sparta. He still has his flash to try and play for that Dragon fight.
More stuff here, but GAM at least getting some advantages, right? Getting the Herald, getting that first Drake. They've got some positives to talk about. Take a good old chunk there from Artemis. I don't think they're in a position where they can dive the Jax, but then again, BeanJ's moving down. They've already got good damage onto Kiaya. In the meantime, Sparta going to try and clear the way with the top side. CC Chain is there. I mean, he doesn't get to move. And it's another kill. BeanJ grabbing this one. Is now Sparta going to have to use that Dominus. 1v3 under the tower. It's the opposite side of the map, but he's not been poked down. He's slowly but surely clearing this wave. Here we go. CC Chain comes on in. He needs to sustain, and he gets it! Dashing on out, Slater flashes to find the kill, secure it for GAM, and slam down the Herald.
Slater tries to, or actually gets the kill, but for Sparta, he needed to just back away. It's like, look, we got the win on bot side. We can actually call this a day, but Burning Flash still going down. And now you're getting those turret plates for Slater on that top side. He's just a GAM coming out again on top thanks to that Rift Herald.
Slater securing it. That Xayah flash, though, can be very valuable later on, but a huge influx of gold to the side of GAM. Playing cross map here, and it feels tense.
Kiaya didn't even get to use Counter-Strike.
No.
He was like, I'm just going to wait a little bit, it'll be all right. But here, like Sparta, I actually would have preferred if he's kind of thinking a couple of steps ahead. Because, yes, you can look to outplay this and maybe you can get a kill, right? Or you can turn something back. But realistically, you want that flash for the next team fight that we're talking about at Dragon. If you can have your TP up and available, which it will be in just a minute's time for that, and you've got the flash, so then you can flash onto Caddy, you can flash onto Slater, you can have a lot more threat in these fights, but not having that is going to make it significantly easier now for Slater to play out these engages, especially with the cleanse. He can try and step away from BeanJ as well, although should still be locked up now that he's flashed this himself. But I think it's just kind of taking that, like, hey, Honor or Necton, the flash is so much more valuable than you consider another champions.
Yeah. And, you know, you can talk about the fact that Slater flashed as well, but ultimately, Sparta didn't make Slater flash. Yeah. Slater flashed to get the kill. That's not like... I'm not sure we can give Sparta the credit for that flash. That was more Slater making that choice to go aggressive, get that kill. 15 seconds on that Drake that we've been talking about. And we'll see if BeanJ, if Bia, if Glory can punish the fact that the AD carry is flashless.
Yeah, you do have an opportunity, at least if Sparta starts to back away here, because he should have his Gore Drinker. Very late reset, though, means that GAM will actually, as you see in mid lane with Glory reset, should be able to get control over River just ahead of this Dragon. They could actually burst it down now, knowing that there's no TPs on the solo laners, but I don't think they've actually copped that the solo laner has reset here for Glory, so a little bit of a messy one here from GAM, where they just don't have the vision to figure out that, oh, we actually had an opportunity to make a play there.
Yeah. Nice thing for Wales as well is Glory getting back to that mid lane, but even if he's just sort of halfway up the lane, can always all over towards that Drake. Does mean you can't use the Weaver's Wall in the fight, but it's better to be there than not, that's for sure. Sparta trying to get another play on the top side as Kiaya pushes him away, but Drake started in the bottom side. Bia caught here, does get a good stun across the team, but he's taking so much damage. The crash down, the gravity storm, he actually keeps himself alive now, and a blast going out to safety. In the meantime, Catty's low, and Artemis knows it. Goddess of the hunt and wants those kills, wants blood, wants food on the table. His Pallet dashes away, 2 more for Wales.
Team Wales once more coming alive, and that one great hook from Pallet onto BA sets up the play. And now Sparta baits out the Counter-Strike. Ult is there, doesn't have the flash to follow underneath, and with the minion wave gone, we'll just set up for the plate when the next minion wave walks up.
GAM finding it hard in these more grouped fights so far this game. Catty going down here. Will be a Drake for Wales, and that the neutral objective advantage that we've been seeing sort of building up for GAM now will be sort of halted in its tracks. Having that first Drake will help in terms of slowing down the soul, but even still not ideal.
I still keep my eyes on that top side, because Sparta ended up taking 3 tower shots off the back of it to try and stop Kiaya's reset, see if maybe he could get the play. But here, GAM started up, seeing that there's the Tilly in mid lane, but again, as you said, Weaver's Wall to try and come across here means that she's actually able to get into position, and GAM end up getting caught in the middle of this Jarvan ultimate, whereas it's Jace who's overextended because he actually ends up on the opposite side of the wall, so has to go forward because there's no real way for him to back out. That means that Team Wales are able to follow up really effectively.
And let's talk about the evolution of BJ and Bia from game number 1 to now. Like, that play where they're setting up Bia, managing to mostly avoid the CC, managing to survive, managing to get his whole combo off. BJ then Cataclysm in. Like, that's what we want to see. Game number 1, they were both individually getting caught out. Didn't feel like they were on the same page. Maybe just needed a warm-up game to kind of wake up and get on the same page as a team, but it feels fantastic to watch now.
Yeah, now Rift Herald in 30 seconds time. GAM once more trying to see if they can set up for this. Do have mid priority, but Sparta just having completed his Gore Drinker alongside BJ means that they're in such a strong spot, and I really don't know if GAM can actually take the fight against them, which is where you can see them kind of going, all right, let's instead push mid to try and lean into bot side and terror dive Glory off the back of this bot side push.
This Jace is starting to hit. You can see the Duskblade finished off, and Glory, I mean, that's like a quarter, a third of his HP. Every accelerated shock blast. Ooh. Now, Snapshot a little bit more even for GAM this time. And the advantage in the hands of Slater. That's going to be crucial.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Slater can do, though, because, I mean, Slater's kind of been a bit doubted coming over from GAM. He's still an all-star AD carry, but hasn't been able to live up to the same level as, say, Artemis, who's kind of considered the top dog when it comes towards AD carries in the region. So I think this is the moment where Slater, it's time for you to prove that you do belong in that conversation. And in this game alone, this is your moment to step up. You've been given the resources. What can you do? Or do you get a chance?
I was going to say, he's not going to be a part of the play. Levi caught out, taken down. That'll be Herald secured for the side of Team Wales. Catty at least gets to crash away, gets to finish off the tier 1 in the bottom side, but realistically, that doesn't feel like enough. If BJ can get this Herald down in the mid lane, tier 1 bot for tier 1 mid is not an even trade.
Not even close, and I mean, they may even get a kill on towards Kiaya in the top side if he doesn't back away. Multiple members of Team Wales moving up, even the Weaver's Wall to try and get in behind them.
This is going to be tough for Kiaya if they commit to the play. BJ in the area, but with the ward and Tribrush, they decide this ain't it. Pallet moving over, you see Catty moving over as well. They're going to back away for the time being. Artemis crashes that way. They've won a fight, they've got a bit of gold, go back for a reset, get those items on the board.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be looking towards Dragon in just 2 minutes time, but for GAM, I mean, Levi isn't even strong enough, has the Radiant Virtue completed, but he's still very, very squishy when you've got that much damage that can go his way, and the burst damage as well, so he's got to back it up and be a little bit more careful. I actually thought that they'd hold on to this Rift Herald for a little bit to try and use it for the second Drake, but for themselves, well, third Drake, but instead just going to immediately try and toss this one down. And when you've got control over mid, and it looks like control over bot side as well, again, Kiaya does need to be careful, because there's a lot of members that could try and come down here, but they're just trying to see if they can get all these outer turrets down and then use the minion waves and the push they have to keep GAM in check regardless.
Yeah, speaking of that, Drake can see Levi, moving into the mid lane to make sure that they're pushing that wave as fast as possible, not losing control of the mid lane, and therefore the river following up. BJ just chasing Levi out of his jungle. As actually Sparta starting to lose out in this match. It does feel like Kiaya starting to come online a little bit. Sparta went quite aggressive to look for that tower, and Kiaya punished.
Yeah, the Divine Thunder are definitely going to help. This is kind of the point where you start to have a lot more control as the Jax and also start to get your resistances coming through, but for Team Wales, I think they're still in a great spot. In fact, you've got so much on the rest of your squad is, hang on.
Stun comes out, BJ the target here, knocked up, still surviving the Gore Drinker, no! Kicked sideways, it's Caddy to finish that one off, and Glory goes down. A shutdown into the pocket of Catty. You couldn't have asked for more for the side of GAM.
Feeling a little bit like game 1, Team Wales. They overextend on the side, and suddenly it's GAM who come alive, catching out BJ and Glory. They don't have the help from BA to get up there, as he was trying to help Artemis push in mid lane, so just not quite getting the waves in check, not having that vision control down, and it's GAM who respond well.
Suddenly, things feeling a little bit better for GAM with the timing of that. A, they get themselves back in control of the gold lead, but B, this Drake spawning onto the map with Glory currently not on the map, with BJ only just respawning. I was going to say GAM should have the advantage. They do have Catty up in the top lane right now, and he's who?
That's what I was going to say. No mana available. Kati does need to actually reset. You can see Glory's just going to be able to pick up this top side, but he'll be able to TP into the fight as well. So, and Levi having no ultimate because he just used it up top side means that GAM actually don't have the things they need available for this next fight. Even Palace not having ultimate. So this is where Team Wales will have an opportunity to just get themselves a second dragon without GAM being able to contest because they made that pick up top.
I feel like this is the part of League of Legends that a lot of people in solo queue never seem to acknowledge, is that tempo matters. If you make a play on the top side, the enemy often can make a play towards the bottom lane. BJ caught out, Glory caught out. It's a great play and a fantastic hook there from Pilot as well.
Yeah, I mean, it works out perfect. Can't even get the knockback onto the flag and drag from the Jarvan. Means that he's able to take him down. But I do agree with you. This is kind of where people start to realize, oh, wait, if we actually do commit all these ultimates in place to the top side, we just don't have the power when it comes to the next fight. So even though we got some kills, we haven't spent that gold. We might have better position, but I mean, if a Jarvan comes in and you've already got the setup with like BA and Artemis able to use everything that they need to, you're just not going to have a good time as GAM.
Certainly not. Catty having a much better game as well. Although, to be fair, damage-wise, he was doing great in the previous game, but couldn't turn those fights. But now getting A, the shutdown onto Glory, but B, getting solo gold on that tower in the top lane as well. He's going to be feeling quite strong, and his Muramana is a singular ability away from stack to this point. There we go. That bonus damage, and it goes straight into the face of BJ.
So it's just actually stacking the tiers of BJ for the goddess. That actually helped out here coming through, but really nicely done. Coming through for GAM, get the pick that they need, and again, this is starting to feel like game one. Very good start from Team Wales. They get to the mid game, and it's pick onto BJ, pick onto Glory, pick onto BJ. Like, this is starting to become a pattern. It might be more, actually, as the Weaver's Wall is coming through.
They're actually committing to this at a man disadvantage. Kiaya has a free flank on this one as Sparta finally gets into the play. He's on to Slater here, but he's alone in the play. The rest of the team forced away. I mean, Team Wales opting into a 4v5.
And it came back to bite them. I mean, Flash now burned and TP on Sparta. You have no control over the map. And, I mean, this is literally what happened in the last game. 20 minutes on the clock and GAM started to look towards that Baron after they got a couple of picks. They won't turn towards it immediately, trying to bait Team Wales in, and they catch BJ!
Does get the flag and drag to safety, keeps himself alive for now. GAM's going to try and rinse and repeat as Levi and Catty separated to the top side. There we go, resets. Will come on through. They can't commit to the Baron play.
Kiaya getting control over this bot side though, again starting to shove in. This is exactly what GAM need. It's buying time for Kiaya to eventually outscale Sparta when he does hit the second item, the Spear Shojin. Should be in a really, really good spot. Levi as well, now starting to build up even the Warmogs. He's going to have more of a health bar that's going to be for Team Wales to contend with. It's starting to get tough now for Team Wales, and the team fight and the opportunities that they had are starting to disappear. When you're just giving across picks like this, giving that tempo advantage to GAM, so they can set up plays, set up picks, get the tower down. They didn't quite get in mid lane because Team Wales had all committed towards the TPs and trying to save that turret, but it's still a lot invested by Team Wales to just keep themselves somewhat on the map.
So, just a minor gold lead here. GAM, 1,500 ahead at 21 minutes. 2 minutes until that Ocean Drake comes online, and that's really the sort of remaining advantage for the side of Wales. Artemis going to be knocked up. The whole gang getting knocked up to try and block for Artemis. The hook wide from Pallet, so they'll walk away.
I'm kind of impressed that Pallet managed to find somewhere to miss that hook. Like, everyone in the way. Like, I
with
assume that was
Nautilus hook as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's bound to hit someone, but not able to do so. I think maybe trying to squeeze a pass to get Artemis, but doesn't work out. Now, ult down for Pallet means that Team Wales honestly might have a little bit more confidence to step forward. Glory did use the Weaver's Wall, so not going to have that available, but Sparta now.
Sparta engaged on. He's the target that honestly Wales are happy with an engage onto. Bia has to back away, but Sparta goes down. 1 for 1 so far as Artemis low forced to flash. Laura trying to get the damage down, but this Talia not doing that much just yet in the game. Levi going for it. Dive here, takes a couple of shots, but BJ! Oh, the shield comes through. Slater's gone deep on this one and taken down. Glory turning this one around. They're so low on HP, but Catty protecting his team and finding the shots.
The tower was the 6th man for Team Wales, but Catty says, I can do double that damage as he's laid. Waste the artillery against them is too hot to handle.
Artemis has his ultimate available and he's sticking around in case Catty tries for more. doesn't pull the trigger. They're going to relax. They're going to reset. But losing 3 is tough for Wales.
And it starts off very well for Team Wales, right? You actually get the ultimate immediately down from BJ. They get the heal coming through from Sparta. He's able to get out. You get the pick onto the support. But it's this follow-up as Kati is just laying down waste with this accelerated shock blast. Levi overextends, but actually baits Team Wales in that little bit too far. Slater then baits himself in to try and get the kill. But again, Kati full health, playing at range, blue buff in his pocket to keep himself up and healthy as well. He's just taking pop shots every opportunity they can as Team Wales try and hide behind the creeps.
Kati just hitting every single shot. 3 items finished off now. See Glory turning the damage down around as well. That Grandmaster's Might for Kiaya, I think literally saving him from that last threaded volley. Could have been a very different fight. But we've all seen what a Jace can do when they're ahead, and Kati is feeling strong at this point in the game. Those shock blasts are going to rain hell on Team Wales.
And I think Team Wales are trying to cross-map, but GAM are saying,
Artemis?
all right, let's do it.
You can't walk into the enemy jungle alone. It's a disaster for the Wales.
I mean, for Team Wales, they were looking going, oh, Dragon's up, therefore GAM do drag. But instead, GAM were like, no, we know that you're going to try and cross-map and go for top tower, so they called the bluff. They immediately run up river. Now you've caught out Artemis, no AD carry. You've got 2 members of Team Wales on towards Dragon. This has to be a steal, but Kati is already aware of that and has decided, no, BJ, you got to back away from this.
Kati is having none of it. Chases BJ out of the vicinity. I think we've all seen how that story ends with the Jarvan waiting over the wall. It's a Baron for a Dragon, a trade that definitely favors GAM. And that, you know, that one time was a win condition for Team Wales is now a silver lining in the Dragon Soul.
Well, that's the thing, is like when you look towards Team Wales, it's again coming back to, hey, these picks, that means so much for GAM, and they're doing such a great job of playing off them. Pallet flashing in just to set up perfectly. BJ's trying to get in to save his AD carry, but ends up using everything essentially to have to escape away in the back end of that. And now GAM, Baron up, you've got Kiaya with 2 items complete. He's going to be able to fight against Sparta in that bot side. You've got Slater on the side who's going to have a ton of control over this mid lane push as well. This game becomes very tough for Team Wales controlling.
Really does. Artemis doing a good job to dodge these shock blasts. Has to say, oh, hang on, Bia behind enemy line. Slater already having to use that ultimate as Pallet alone in the fray for the time being, but the Feathers get a good route. 5v4 now as they charge on forwards. Zonius comes out from Kati, but he's taken down regardless. Bia falling as well. It's absolute carnage on the Rift, but GAM coming out on top. Artemis under the tower and annihilated by Kiaya. He's back in form and he's back in the game.
Glory, who started it off, now has to run for the hills. Kiaya will stun himself up as he goes under that. The flick back again onto the unraveled earth will mean that he has to step away. But that's GAM turning around the engaged Team Wales thought they had.
It felt like it was a one fight at the start there. Slater especially pulling his feathers back, getting A, Artemis, but B, the root on one of the front line as well. Setting it all up. Kiaya can't quite finish this tower off. They won't get any bonus towers off of this fight, but GAM crucially just winning the fight.
Yeah, a lot of damage onto turrets though, and like this here, it's a nice attempt from BA. Slater, immediate ult, Kati over the wall, and this is where again you start to see this turnaround. Ton of damage coming through from Slater. Kati goes in here, but stuns himself as he goes in onto the unraveled earth, so then it actually ends up in a position where despite the dust blade, he's not able to get back out. So this fight then revolves around Slater, who full health has been tearing through everyone, and as Kiaya TP's in, it's just a matter of finishing off what Slater has already set up.
I gotta say, the combination of Duskblade and the stun from the Unraveled Earth made me think it was a stopwatch.
Yeah, I thought honestly, it was Unraveled Earth. It might have just been B, but something stunned him up when he was in the Duskblade anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But either way, Team Wales now up against it. 6,000 gold lead for GAM. Feeling strong in this one, and specifically Slater at this point. We already talked about how strong Kati is, but Slater, 3.5 items on the Xayah. Like, you're a teamfight monster at this stage. And so far what we've seen is Team Wales can't close that gap, can't get onto him. And even when they do, he's still got his ultimate.
Well, it looks like Team Wales is going to try and just look for the pick. They said we can't fight this, but can we fight Kiaya?
The pod is swimming south. Kiaya the target. He's going to walk into the jungle. They're not there. Are they still in the bush? I'm not even sure at this point. Kiaya could be in trouble. Oh, God, it's 10 stack there. They're going to go for it. And they get a flash out of him.
Great reactions from Kiaya. I mean, the second he saw that, he was like, I'm out, peace. And I think a lot of it was like, hey, we're just going to wait for the Counter-Strike to be used so then we can try and finish him off. But ends up not paying off. Kiaya burns his flash. And still now you got GAM, who, because Team Wales invested all that pressure on the bot side, we have to push mid, rotate up to get vision into this top side jungle, and may even look for this tier 2 as well, as the rest of Team Wales have to try and deal with, well, 1, Shock Blast from Cassie, but 2, the push that's now happened in the mid lane.
Yeah. It's a Thornmail angle for Artemis at this point. Yeah, maybe not. We'll have to say. I mean, you could certainly go GA, just have a bit of armor in your kit, because Catty is hitting like a truck at this point. This will be the tier 2 takedown on the top side. And GAM, once again, this feels reminiscent of game 1, right? Where actually the early game going fairly well for Team Wales, but then mistakes happen and GAM get advantages off of punishing.
And it feels now that Team Wales have to get advantages off of the amount of stopwatches that are in their pockets, right? You've got 3 picked up already, Sparta, BJ, Artemis, but it's kind of been responded to on the opposite side. 2 GAs now for Catty and Slater, plus the stopwatch there for Kiaya. It feels like this next fight, both teams kind of realize is going to swing the game either completely done for GAM or start that walk back for Team Wales, especially if they can get the souls. So trying to see if they can look for a pick, but I don't think it's going to be the case, as GAM are just going to fight for mid priority.
Catty's moving down. Okay, he's moving back up to the rest of his team. I wasn't sure if he was going to go for the wave there. It's Kiaya that moves over to the wave. He used his flash in the previous play. Levi moving over. I think GAM is suspicious, though. They're not going anywhere. They're not willing to go for it, but Levi could be a target as Sparta moves over. They're trying to set it up. Artemis goes forward, takes half of his health straight off the bat from Catty. It's Glory using that wall, but it doesn't really achieve too much. Sparta on the front line, knocked back out. His pallet now tanking for his team, but Kiaya is onto the back line. He's got a double stun, but Artemis somehow gets out with his life. In the meantime, though, the front line is mincemeat. Slater takes him apart, and GAM get a trade.
GAM find that moment. Glory, great Weaver's wall, but nobody was there to actually follow up. Glory as well, even in a terrible spot, so he's just got to TP immediately up to the top side, try and get some control over the wave so they can actually push these in. But look at the pings on mid lane. They realize, hang on a second, Glory's TP to top. They have to try and reset, and BJ's on bot side. We can try and get some priority in this mid lane.
GAM at this point, they've realized Team Wales, they're a pod. Stick it in a coffee machine, get a nice beverage.
I mean, this was nice from Team Wales to try and set this up, but as you say, GAM are kind of wary. They're like, hang on, we only see Sparta, we don't even see Glory. And this Weaver's wall is great, but Glory doesn't follow it. He hops off a blue buff, which means there's no one to actually get onto Cassie, despite the fact that he was caught in a horrible spot. And Kiaya there follows up beautifully on the knock-up that comes through. Means that they get onto Artemis. There's that stopwatch we're talking about, but here's Baron already started, and Sparta's nowhere to be found.
He's nowhere near. TP finally coming in. He's into the pit here. It's going to be a 50-50. In fact, it's taken by Slater. Pulling back the feathers here. Pallet on the front line. He's tanky at this point. Will get out with his life, but Catty's gone too far forward. That's GA on cooldown now as Kiaya trying to get the flank. Artemis turns golden. He's in all kinds of trouble, but flashes out to safety. 1 kill for Wales, but health bars are blinking, and Slater knows it. See you later, he says, as Sparta forced to flash away. Double kill for Slater.
And they still want to try and chase. GAM want to try and stop Glory from coming into this. That's the TP to cut off the members of Team Wales. GAM want to try and get these waves in check so they can actually crack open the base off this Sparta. Down by Levi. Able to hop, skip, and a jump over the wall. There's nobody here. I think Sparta's out.
In the meantime, Glory trying to get a reset off Kiaya, searching for him. 8 seconds on the clock to find that target. Sparta will get a bit of damage, and Glory found. The flickback's not enough. And there's Slater to secure another kill. And now massively delayed respawns on the solo laners.
And they're completely desynced. BJ going to be up with Artemis and BA, but everyone on GAM is going to be coming up. It's just Catty in 6 seconds. Then we will have to run from base, but it's still going to be a 4v3 for a significant portion of time. And the waves are coming in for a Jax, for a Zaya with 4.5 items or whatever the hell it is at this stage. Like, this tower is going to go down so quickly.
It's possible that this is game, honestly. Dagda, our Red Bull Baron power play could just be the last play of this game. Hook on in feathers, comes straight back. BJ's down. Artemis forced back onto the fountain. Onto the Nexus towers they go. Kiaya is low though. Health bars are starting to blink on the side of GAM, but Slater still untouched, still with a GA, and still just firing away. Slater destroying Team Wales in this one as GAM go 2-1 up in the series. Sparta tries to save the day, but it's too little and it's too late.
And again, we're seeing that GAM want to keep Team Wales in their spot. Second seed from the VCS is Team Wales in second place in this game. It started off so well for them, controlling the early stages, finding those opportunities. But again, this desync when it comes towards setting up vision, getting control outside of the lanes, and BJ getting caught out repeatedly means that GAM find their moment to spring back into the game.
They certainly have, and what a spring back it was. And I feel like, again, very reminiscent of game number 1, where Team Wales actually looking pretty good in the early game. Couple of mistakes happen. GAM pounce. The second that Team Wales make a mistake against GAM, it feels like this, like they start to dance in the game. You know, there's that tempo going in their favor, and it's play after play after play at that point.
Yeah, and again, it's like you kind of find these moments for Team Wales where they're like, oh, let's try and use the Weaver's Wall to look and find that moment to try and strike back. But it was just a little bit out of position where it was like, oh, we can't quite get Glory there, or we can't quite get the follow-up that we need, either on the mid lane play or on the last Dragon play. And that's where GAM are just like, cool, as long as we play it slow, we play off of Caddy's the accelerated shock blast, we're going to be in a great spot.
Well, so far, 2-1 to GAM. And in the VCS finals, it was a 3-1 win for GAM in the end. Team Wales up against it now. Let's break this one down.
Sorry, I think I might have to break up a fight here.
You got something to say?
Are you okay, GB? Do you need some backup?
Listen.
Yeah, I'm listening. Explain yourself.
That was a mistake.
What
you know,
part?
we
There were multiple mistakes.
No, there was a great early game. I felt
That's true.
That was a cool early game.
Yeah.
And then we felt bad. We just felt
For
bad.
us?
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now you got to play one more game.
This is amazing, right? We're settling our differences here on the analyst desk. I know it's been tough back here, you know, during the games, you know, arguments back and forth, who's banning what. But here's that great early game you're talking about. Binge, aka BJ, got off to an amazing start, Raz.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to make Raz talk about BJ.
Can you talk about the early game? Sorry, I thought I was Team Wales. Raz, you take it away with Team Wales.
Okay, we got a great dive.
Yeah?
Right? So we wanted to get Slater ahead because he is just the better player than Artemis. But then, unfortunately, BJ did punish us just a bit. This team fight around Drake hurt. That was a great Cataclysm and then EQ away to disengage. And then once the Talia started to join up, we started to get run down.
Listen, we were saying on the broadcast, we're already saying here, it's over. Like, just looking at the early game. And this is just series fight as well. It's been a lot back and forth with Levi actually getting ahead of BJ, but BJ's really, I think it really struck back in that game specifically, and on the Javan, we talked about it. He is just a huge threat on that pick specifically. So if we ignore the rest of the game, past, let's say, 16 minutes, I think this was a really good game for Wales.
I don't think the producers are ready.
I literally think Goldberg turned to me during the game. It's like, yeah, post 14 minutes, though. Like, right now, BJ is 4-0-3, but it's about to go very different than 2 deaths in a row. I think there were a lot of picks, I think, that happened inside the enemy jungle, some side lanes, a little bit of overextension in the mid.
Yeah, you know, like, BJ's he's a morning person, you know? He's up there early in the morning, ready to grind, and then by midday, it's like he's taking a little bit of a nap.
True.
He's forgetting a few things. Like
he's crashed a little
We've
bit.
all fallen asleep on The Office before, right, Raz?
Yes, maybe he needs a little Red Bull.
No, maybe he does. If we can
pick-me-up.
get on the case with a Red Bull for being ASAP, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, we can take a look at, there was a crazy team fight inside of the mid lane. I think this is one where Slater's even diving underneath the tower to finish off BJ.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this is where it also starts getting wrong, where it's just these random picks again. And I mean, this one should never really happen if you are Team Wales. It's not like it accumulates to anything after. It's just a lot of random kills.
Yeah.
But when you're in the team that's so solidified in the lead, you shouldn't start trading even. You should start winning the fights where you then translate it into an objective. You can still see there's a top side still standing. There's a tier 2 mid lane that can get really pushed in and then give you more vision around the Dragon or the Baron. And a lot of credit has to go to Kati. You know, I've been all about the glory hype. He's been my favorite. But, I mean,
yeah, it's
Kati's been outperforming him this series.
Yeah, I felt like that was
that was difficult.
That was Glory choking a little bit too.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a little.
My bad.
That's fair. That's fair. I think you and him are synonymous with each other.
Oh God.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal.
One point that I wanted to make: the comp was actually much higher than expected. Talking about the draft a little bit, we saw a huge change up. we saw the Sejuani into J4. I was scared. Honestly,
you should have been. I was happy.
I was like, we let J4 go. He's actually fed off the early game. But then you could see in the prior fight, it was really difficult to get past the Sejuani. I thought Slater had an excellent game in team fighting because it was difficult for the Renekton and really anyone to get on top of him. Meanwhile, as you saw the snipes. So just in general, great team fight. Really difficult to dive. We might see a change up going into the next game for just a top lane matchup. Just because I think generally Renekton is just harder to play out in team fights if you're not playing creatively. If you're playing front to back, it's tough.
That was really my biggest complaint about the pick as well, because laning phase, it still worked. And I was really surprised with how well Sparta actually piloted into the Kiaya Jax. But then you came around the team fight. It didn't offer any reliable CC that allowed them to play around it. I also think Glory into the Talia has been super underwhelming. He's really not able to do anything with getting ahead in the laning phase or finding good plays with the wall.
Yeah.
It seems like he's a bit uncomfortable on the pick, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, those two picks has been my main, I don't know.
When you compare it, especially like the Syndra Orianna, where he's been so dominant on. I also think it's maybe a little bit peculiar that we go for, on GAM's side, the blind pick Jax, and then a Jace later on. Like, this feels like a perfect Rumble angle if we're saving counter pick.
Yeah.
Kiaya's just been blinding top lane every single game. I'd love to see him with the counter because he's so strong in the top lane.
And I agree with that. I think a lot of it comes down to regional familiarity. Once you play against a team, maybe even in scrims coming into this event quite a bit, then you're like, okay, he's not going to play a Rumble. You're pretty aware of Sparta playing, the champions he wants to play. And then he just gets to a comfortable Jax picks, which he's done in the prior series. So he's like, this is my comfort zone. Earlier on, game one wasn't good, only because, I made one mistake. So he just wanted to go back onto a pick that he has been comfortable on and just playing it differently.
Yeah, and to speak about that regional familiarity, I think that's why we see such a bloody game. Like, sometimes players are getting picked out in the mid game and getting lost in the sauce, but it means so much to advance to the next stage of Swiss and also just beat the team coming from your same region.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just this year now, GAM is 8-2 against them, right, after what we've seen in the series here. So it has always been a rivalry that has favored GAM too. And it also shows, not just from laning phase with some of the different laners, but I also think once you reach that mid game, GAM is more clear in what they want to do, and Wales at times just look lost on the map. And it's 2 games now where we've also just seen multiple members, BJ, Artemis specifically on the Kaiser, where he just randomly walked into that bush before Baron, where it's not a fight, it's not a macro play, it's just individual mistakes suddenly just giving the edge to the enemy.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing here is that apparently Team Wales has selected red side. I actually would have expected blue side just because Slater coming into the series I thought was going to be the target. But he's been getting Xayah pretty reliably, and they've been playing towards bot lane and looking for dives and getting him ahead and putting Artemis behind. And even if topside has been working out for you, you have been so much more comfortable throughout the year playing towards Artemis and honestly relying on his individual strength as a team fighter. And I think when Slater is put behind, he really falls behind. So I would love to see that. Not going to happen now that they've chosen red side. Yeah. So I want to see what the adaptation is.
Both teams confident in their prep, sticking to the same sides on both of them. Well, GAM Esports are just 1 win away from repeating the story of the VCS Summer Finals as they prepare match point with a spot in the World Swiss stage up for grabs.
Should be able to finish this one. No flash available for him. There's the knock-up. The counter-strike comes on through. Sparta wanted the solo kill. BJ, he'll get an assist on this one. But it is all Sparta all day long, Dagda. Tuck still surviving the Gorge Ring, and no! Kicked sideways. It's Caddy to finish that one off. And Glory goes down. They're so low on HP, but Catty protecting his team. Slowly but surely clearing this way. Here we go. CC chain comes on in. He needs the sustain, and he gets it. Dashing on our Slater, flashes to find the kill.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Unlock extra loot with the Worlds Event Pass. Every Event Pass purchase will add to the prize pool for Worlds 2023. There's a lot to celebrate at this time of year.
Huh? What is this?
back, everybody, as we head towards game number 4 now between our VCS finalists. And now playing, I mean, one of them's a VCS first seed, the other one is the play-in's first seed. So we've got first seed versus first seed here, but GAM now 2-1 up and looking pretty good in that last game.
Yeah, looking absolutely fantastic. And I'm excited to see now how they're going to try and keep this momentum going. It was what we saw in the VCS finals, where it was drop second game, but come back strong, game 3, game 4. And it kind of feels like it's been, again, catching out BJ at different points in time when he's overextending, trying to get vision, and then playing off that quick pick into finding that tempo to find 1, 2, 3, 4 picks, and then just build this massive gold lead. So by the time you actually end up team fighting as these team squads, it's actually just going in your favor.
Yeah, you can see Coach Yuna there on the screen looking very animated coming into what could be the last game for, well, I was going to say for Team Wales, it'd be the last game for both teams if that's the way it goes. GAM, though, advantage 2-1, but it did feel like Wales were winning out in a lot of the early game. We'll see if they can repeat that. We'll see how this draft is going to change as well. I feel like the drafts have been quite interesting. It's been quite a unique series when it comes to the draft.
Yeah, I think as well, like, we kind of got to see that adaptation where it's like things like the Maokai kind of stays consistent, but starting to see some of the swap ups with like the Kasante coming into the ban phase, Alistair being left open and making it the entire way through that pick ban phase. So curious to see how coming into game 4 we start to adapt, and if this is the game that puts GAM Esports into our Swiss stage at Worlds 2023, or if we will be going to game number 5 and going the distance to find out which one of these teams will represent Vietnam at that next stage.
That'll be the question. GAM desperate to make it back once again, but Team Wales on the other side desperate to make it for the first time. This is their first ever World Championship. How incredible would it be for them to make it straight into the Swiss stage in their first ever chance? The first ever Swiss stage as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely incredible. And again, it's kind of like, yes, it is a first time for Team Wales being at this point, but like a lot of veterancy on the Team Wales roster. Like BJ coming across, stellar player that's been around for quite a while. Like, I think there's still a lot of people that you look at on this roster who have stepped up into these bigger slots. And it's a case of if, again, BJ can kind of correct a lot of mistakes, because honestly, it's kind of been him as well who's causing issues for Team Wales as they start to come into this. But again, I think it's, you're looking at Artemis. This is supposed to be the year that he has his breakout performance on the international stage. Shows why he's been so touted coming through from the VCS, but has been relatively quiet, I will say. Hasn't had the best of opportunities with the kind of been on the receiving end of the Xayah-Kai'Sa matchup, where Xayah just has that bit more control in the lane phase. Yeah. Oftentimes has been getting the counter pick for his own support as well. So he's been having a bit of a rough time. So I'm curious now coming into this if we actually get to see a little bit more priority on, hey, let's get Artemis into a position where he can be that playmaker, when he can step up and be the big carry, because we just haven't seen team fights that allow Artemis to do that.
No, not at all. And I do feel like that Xayah has been, the first play I remember from Artemis of this tournament was on the Xayah. You know, it was the Xayah that he started to really separate himself from the pack, for me at least. And we'll see if he's able to get it, because the Xayah, it has been first pick, it has been powerful in these drafts. I'm curious about the jungle matchup as well, because we've had quite a few different matchups. BJ bringing out the Jarvan for this third game. Didn't really quite, I mean, there was some good moments for it. I don't think the jump pick was an issue inherently, but didn't really work out.
I think, again, though, it's kind of, I want to see more from, yes, BJ, but also, like, working with Glory. When we think back to game number 2, it's BA and BJ being able to work towards Glory in the mid lane and saying, hey, we're going to give you the resources you need, go carry us. And Glory was able to step up really, really well in that regard. But when I think back to, hey, you know, I agree with what GB's sentiment has been is, hey, Glory was all pro team for me coming in for this squad as well. Like, Glory was an absolutely fantastic player and the player to watch in this roster, but has been very muted against Cassie. Like, I've been cheering for Cassie more often than not when he's like the Jace power shots are landing, when you've got his insane Syndra performance, him attempting in game 2 to even get control in the Victor and dealing like most damage in the game. It has been very Cassie dominated in that mid lane, and even when they're able to get comfort for Glory, it just hasn't been his story. So I want to see now coming into this if they can try and get something for him in that regard.
See if they can find, like you say, comfort for Glory, or I mean, I don't think he's been on picks that he's not comfortable on inherently. Exactly. But I think a lot of it as well is that Ahri ban. keeps on coming on through. Like, it's definitely the pick that he is known for the most. It's his most played from summer. Nico's been banned a good amount against him as well. It does feel like they're actively trying to mute Glory.
And that's the thing. That's why, like, remember coming into the last draft, I was like, hey, look, maybe just give Glory something on pick 3. Like, they're taking the 80 carries. They're kind of going, hey, look, we want to try and prioritize Artemis. And again, I think Artemis is kind of the flashy player on the team, but I think Glory is the backbone for a lot of this. And that's why I think going for an early Nico, going for something like even the Orianna that he was hovering but gets banned away, like trying to get some control for him in the mid lane is going to work out significantly better. And I've just been kind of disappointed to see that, look, it kind of like, hey, we're leaving open the Xayah, so Artemis is getting muted, and then we're just getting all of Glory's champions banned away because we're ending up with Catty being prioritized early in the draft. So I think kind of having that mix where it's like, hey, we're willing to get rid of the Xayah and we're willing to prioritize Glory that little bit more is actually going to do wonders for this squad.
We'll see if they can get those picks, if they can get themselves in control of the draft a little bit more. So head towards game number 4. I do apologize, everyone, a minor delay in getting into Champ Select for this one. And we'll see what's occurring on that one. As league officials currently investigating client issues, so we should be starting picks and bans shortly. We should be able to get everyone into the lobby and get this one underway for game number 4. And I feel like maybe for Team Wales, like a little break like this could be, you know, have a breather.
Yeah.
You're against the ropes now. We're going towards game number 5. You know, at the end of the day, Team Wales, they lost the final 3-1. You're against the ropes again. This has got to feel a little reminiscent. Got to take time, take a deep breath.
It can definitely be a double-edged sword, though, where you're like, oh, yeah, well, like, GAM don't get to ride on that high, you know, come into game 4 going, yeah, we got this. They kind of have to take a breather and can mess with some of that that momentum.
Some of that
but on the opposite side, if you're starting to feel a bit nervous on Team Wales and you're like, oh god, we're just sitting here. Oh, it's starting to mount. It can be both sides.
Get in your own head.
We are into our pick and ban, and we'll have to see exactly what's going to change up. Absolutely nothing for the first 2. But again, I really want to see this Xayah taken off the board. I think she's so underrated in how much control she's given to Slater and Paladin on that bottom side.
Yeah, so K'Sante banned away from Sparta once again. This time Jax taken off the board. So Kiaya won't get his own comfort, won't get that pick that can just hardcore outscale something like the Renekton. We'll see if the bans are going to continue as they have been. The Viego, again, GAM. I mean, look, if I'm GAM after that previous game,
you're happy.
I ain't changing anything.
We did it!
Oh,
we got the Xayah ban! I was going to say, look, if you're not going to ban away the Xayah, you got to bring out something like a Blitzcrank, something crazy for being that bot side. But I love that they're doing this, getting rid of that control for Slater, opening up Bardas and Bay to actually play aggressive. Rakan is open. Maybe that's first pick worthy here. We'll have to wait and see. But I do actually think as well, going towards the even a mid or a jungle, it's going to be totally fine here. Renekton as well could be the opportunity.
Yeah, Kai'Sa going to be the lock-in the end. I can't say I'm too surprised to see the Kai'Sa going there. But like you say, Renekton, the Rakan still available if you want to take that one for yourself. Or you can deny the Nautilus. In fact, it's already locked in. Taking away the Kai'Sa Nautilus combo.
And priority for Glory. This is exactly what I wanted to see from Team Wales coming in. Get him onto comfort, set him up well. The only thing is, though, because you've now kind of shown your hand with this Syndra and this rotation, it does mean it opens up for things like the LeBlanc that we saw banned away previously from Catty to now come through. So you'll have to see if that is going to be the game plan. I personally think Palace take the Alistar here. Great setup for you. You can go well against the Nautilus as well. And you can provide that CC that's in the middle. But is this just going to be Kiaya taking that set into the top lane? Or is this in response to the bot lane?
Yeah, I think this is Pallet. I think that's a set for Pallet, to be honest. Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Certainly works well to set up the Kai'Sa in terms of getting the CC, getting those passive procs up. And there we go. That pretty much confirms it, right? A Renekton hover.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it once from Pallet before in summer. So, yeah, it is going to be the... once from BA in summer, not from Pallet. My bad, I was looking at the wrong screen. But, yeah, it actually is going to be a case of the bot lane taking this set. Curious to see how that one works out, because I think you've got a lot of things that are going to be all right to just go, hey, how about I just, put in a Scat of the Week in there? Or how about I just boot you in the face and kick you back out of the equation?
Yeah, I've got to say, Lee Sin not had a great tournament so far, but alongside a Syndra, like, you got a lot of power in that mid jungle right there. That is a lot of presence. And like you say, Syndra very happy with an extremely short-ranged opposing team so far. The Nocturne ban has been consistent so far this series, and we will see it again for Game 4.
curious if you get the Sejuani ban as well, because at the moment it feels like a lot of things that run at you on GAM, but not a lot of things that stop the enemy team from running away from you on GAM's side. So I definitely think you want something like the Sejuani to actually lock them in place. That's going to be banned away. Maokai is taken away as well, so I'm kind of curious to see what the game plan is here for Levi, or whether, again, for Pallet, it's just like, hey, well, we've already got the set in the bot lane, so it's like, well, what does Cassie then try and play in mid to start things off? It ends up very, very wonky. So I actually love the bans that we're getting through at the moment from Team Wales, just getting rid of those engage tools. Okay. Artemis bringing out the Callista.
Straight up aggro here. Across the board, like Syndra in the mid lane, Lee Sin jungle. You've now got, as you say, the Callista out from Artemis. They want to take GAM on head-to-head. And now GAM have to respond to this in kind. They need to lock in. You'd assume a support, you'd assume a mid laner and a jungler here. The Wukong's still available.
Levi going to go back to his classic, bringing out the Wukong, one of the players that was still very much enamored with this champion despite the nerfs that kind of, as we start to see it dip across pretty much globally in all regions. Levi was one of those players that was still willing to bring it out, and this is kind of the engage tool that we were talking about. I wasn't sure maybe if they go for the Vi or the Wukong, but this is a very potent combo with the Orianna there.
That's an extremely potent combo, and I just want to quickly mention, we talked about Catty's Jace stats. Well, the Wukong's no different for Levi. 91% win rate over 11 games, and a 7 KDA in the jungle there, feeling strong. Rumble, a pick that we saw banned a lot at the start of play-ins that's sort of fallen out of favour. Could be the option. Or, you know, just set up for the big all-in.
I mean, look at the grin there on the coach's face. They're very happy to go, do you know what? Let's just go for it. We already know that we've got good setup. We can, if they have to play as GAM, they have to try and run into us. They're going to be grouped up. They're all going to be trying to come in at the one point in time. So if they go for this big wombo combo, let's just jump back on their face. And you've got decent setup here as well. Like, if you can set up for a good scout of the week from the Syndra, you can set up for Artemis in these fights, you're going to be in a good spot. But it does come back to your point you made earlier, Munchables. If you don't get rolling on this bot side, you don't have the damage in team fights to have that consistent DPS, Team Wales are going to struggle.
I feel like Glory is going to be a focus point here for Team Wales. He's been reasonably quiet this series compared to what we've seen so far in play-ins, and he's going to have a lot of damage. He's going to have to be a lot of setup with that Scat of the Week as well. We need to see a great game from Glory.
And specifically working with BJ. I want to see this mid jungle pop off. Scatter the weak into the Sonic Wave, kill this Orianna over and over until the life is absolutely miserable, and then you can join that into the bot lane as well and make them miserable. The goal here of Team Wales is to have GAM crying their eyes out by the time they finish in this game, because if not, they don't have a hope of moving on to that main stage, and it will be GAM Esports who are cheering once again as Team Wales have left themselves with tears in their eyes.
At this point, Dagda, well, first off, I don't condone bullying, so I'm basically cheering for GAM now after that. I really hope they're not just trying to make GAM cry. But realistically, I just want 5 games now. Like, this series has been so fun to watch so far. We've got a VCS Finals rematch, and GAM looking to repeat their scoreline. They got a 3-1 win domestically. Let's see if they can repeat it here in the qualifications, but Team Wales not going down without a fight. They lock a full aggro composition. They are bringing it to GAM in the 4th game.
Already, we can see everyone spreading out across the ways, wanting to make sure that nobody gets any sort of vision down, because every single game, we've seen these kind of late invades to get vision and make sure that you're in an okay spot. We've even seen split maps coming in from Game 2, but now coming into Game 4, when the chips are down, looks like everyone's just going to take it nice and easy. Bit of damage across Levi, though.
When the chips are down, pick them up and eat them. Delicious. It's not very good for you, though, I will say, chips. Trying to eat less.
I'm pretty sure it's a poker term rather than... Oh, so we call them crisps.
I was talking about,
what are you
like,
talking about?
chips. Is it like fries to
Ah,
the
okay,
wider
okay,
world.
okay.
You are right. It is a poker term, but I prefer to think about real chips. Team Wales moving in once again. We've seen this sort of invade. Did they get spotted?
I don't think they
on
did.
The wall. It's hard to say. Honestly, I think they did. BJ trying to get out. Will flash over the wall. Beer might have to do the same thing. Artemis getting some stacks going. Not afraid. And the red buff will reset. I don't think that's quite enough for that to be a positive play. And we do have a pause coming on through.
Pause coming through, but I'm kind of surprised to see how aggressive that they went in that one. I mean, they didn't know that they were going to get spotted, but still, you're kind of late in the invade. Set's going to be perfect in those close quarter combats where you're able to set up beautifully with the E, the pullback to get the multi-man stun. So I thought they just kind of back away at that stage. And now you've got a Lee Sin who's incredibly low, trying to start off his own jungle camps, and also having no flash. If I'm Levi, I'm probably trying to invade on top side and use some of that pressure to see if I can get this Lee Sin out of the game.
It certainly would make sense. Hopefully we can get any issues remedied shortly. This Team Wales, again, it's like you said earlier, the pause coming on through, you're going to be getting into your own head a little bit, right? That you went for a late invade, it didn't quite work out, and now you've got to kind of sit and marinate in that. And, no talking during a tech pause either, so it's not like you can get on the same page as a team.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried, though, for BJ, because, again, he's kind of been the one that's gotten caught out at times, has now being set behind. I think this is where, again, if we were talking about, hey, played through a strong mid jungle, you're already kind of instigating that in favor of GAM, which is the complete opposite of what you would have wanted if you're a Team Wales fan. So I think a huge portion of this game now is going to be a case of, can Levi use some of these advantages to get control? Like, if you have Renekton who's in control of top lane, cool, let's try and bring Renekton to an invade on red buff off this initial clear. Like, try and get into the face of this Lee Sin, because he just doesn't have the best of sustain. Even though with the buffs, it's like if you're already starting off at a 3rd HP, you are going to struggle to get through this clear.
Yeah, you certainly are. See if they can punish that one. Whether or not he has to go for an early reset as well in that jungle, if the sustain's just not good enough at all. Just clear one camp, get the level 2 reset, then maybe move straight up to your top side just to potentially negate if they do go for some kind of invade or anything.
Yeah, that's where it's like, I think you will probably see a hard pushing mid if you can, although I don't think Orianna can. I think Orianna level 1 and 2 can get control over mid lane, push that in, get a ward onto Raptors, at least try and spot out exactly what the game plan is for Wukong. Like, if you do see him going for this full clear, okay, grand, now we can kind of spot out and go, right, we can make some sort of play. If not, then you just end up taking the fact that, oh, well, he's had to go for an early reset, so he's behind anyway, so now I just get to level 4 quicker as Wukong and then try and make a gank. So there's kind of ways that you can try and play this one out, and I think that's exactly what GAM are going to be looking to try and see.
All right, well, it is Team Wales that have gone for the pause, apparently. We're still trying to figure out what the issue is on stage right now. But you know what, Dagda? It wouldn't be play-ins if we didn't have a couple of little technical hiccups.
To be fair, I'm kind of shocked we got this far into play before they started to creep in. So, I mean, we've been doing pretty well. But it is going to be the long day, of course, is when we get the pauses. The potential 10-game day is when the pauses come through. That is class. Sorry, that side.
Do you know, I've seen that hamster, I'm going to say, a lot on the internet before. I've never seen anyone like hand drawing it for a sign in the crowd as well. Saw another side saying, hoping for silver scrapes today. I feel like this series, very reasonable expectation for Wales to push this to 5 now and give us some silver scrapes for our first series of the day. Then obviously our second series as well. I mean, I think that was an incredibly hard series to call. BDS versus PSG for our second best of 5. 2 best of 5s in a day, which is already a treat. But then, Europe versus PCS. Who's going to be the one to make it to Swiss?
Europe versus the legacy of 4th seed, always disappointing. We'll have to see if they can try and bring it back. But coming back into Team Wales here, I'm really glad that they end up banning away the Xayah, because I think when you're looking at this one, you've actually got opportunities now to try and play a little bit more aggressive towards the bottom side, even with the tomfoolery that's going on with the Lee Sin. I still think when you get towards team fights, Slater's had this very easy get out of jail free card, and it's not going to be an opportunity really for him to have that here on the Kai'Sa, especially with the Nautilus having that point and click CC. So I think when I look at this game, it's going to be easier for Team Wales to try and play the team fights and play for what has been Glory trying to set up picks, which we haven't really saw come to fruition because Slater's had that safety.
So if you're just joining us, Team Wales have paused the game right now. League officials in Seoul are investigating, and we'll update you when we hear anything back as to what's occurring on the stage. Hopefully, shouldn't be too big of an issue, and we'll be able to jump straight back into gameplay shortly. But until then, you get to hear the dulcet tones of me and Dagda doing a bit of a podcast for the time being.
Yeah, see, this is what happens every time we try and do Fight Night.
Yeah,
Every time we
literally.
do Fight Night, it's like the complete opposite happens. We're like, we're ready for this, we're screaming, and then it's like, okay, well, actually, there hasn't been a kill in like 24 minutes, and we're like, well, kind of scratching our heads, and now it's just pauses to just take us out of all that energy.
Literally, the first time we ran the Fight Night segment was LGD versus IG. This is back in 2020.
Lucky versus Shie.
And it was like, you know, statistically, there was no way this was not an absolute banger of a matchup. Like, they both had incredibly high, like, champion kills per minute and
Also,
all of this.
it's IG.
And also, yeah, it was IG at the time. LGD at the time as well were like this big, like, they love dive cups and all of this. Get into the match. I think the first kill happened in like 15 minutes or something. It was the opposite of Fight Night.
I still remember screaming, get the ties, because finally at 15 minutes we had something. But I'm hoping that this again will be a bit more of a bloody game. I think you kind of have to, coming in towards, again, Team Wales, like Lee Sin, Sindre, want to try and play through that. When I'm looking across the board at the champions on your screen as well, for GAM, Wukong, Renekton, easy setups, great dives actually, post 6 as well. So it is against the Malphite, so probably not going to see a huge amount, but I think if Sparta can just try and calm the game down, keep himself in check, farm up, and just get to the point where he's a Malphite, the setup he will have in team fights is going to be insane.
Yeah.
But he does have to be careful not being like thrown back the other direction by this set. But overall, I think he's going to be in a great spot. So this is, if there's ever a time for Team Wales to fight back, it's this one.
I have to say I'm excited just to see the set in general. It's not often that we get to see set in the support role these days. You do see it occasionally, but it is very much a niche pick. It's usually picked in these kind of scenarios. It's kind of funny to see it against the Kalista, realistically, since Kalista quite often used to be paired with set. Like, back when set was in the meta, it was often with that Kalista.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's been funny to see Adam bringing it out into the top lane, because even the cast was talking about the other day, it's like, we kind of saw it as a mid lane / support, really, where it stepped out. I think it was Mark who was talking about it. It's just like, you just don't really get to see it particularly often in the top lane role.
Yeah.
But I think in this one, it's going to be a case of like, how aggressive can you play against this Nautilus? Because as long as you're able to kind of just keep pushing the wave and stuff, you're going to be relatively okay as Team Wales in that bot lane. It's more of a case of the second you try to step up or play over aggressive, the Kai'Sa, the Kai'Sa and Set can turn plays around, and Kai'Sa can follow up very effectively with that killer instinct as well.
So we've got a bit of an update for everyone as well. After investigating a potential in-game issue with Glory, League officials have found that it was a monitor notification and not a client issue. Teams have been informed there will be no such remake, and we are back into the game. Fight Night continues, as it were. For anyone that's just joining us, Pallet is gonna flash. I think that was Hex Flash. I'm pretty sure he used his flash. There was a level 1 invade. Team Wales tries to make something aggressive happen in the bottom side. You can see BJ, no flash in that jungle. Had to flash out, and now low HP as he goes for his clear. Flash forward for Bia, but he's not level 2 just yet. Level 2 now hit by the Team Wales bottom lane, but Bia has to back away from this one. Artemis in trouble as now Levi moves into the mid lane as well. It's absolute carnage to start the game.
Artemis and Bia have to back away. Glory going to be in a terrible spot as well with no flash, and this is what we're talking about. Levi, knowing that the Lee Sin was taken low in the early stages, going to see if he can actually get into position here. Spotted on a ward though that was nicely placed earlier by Team Wales. So BJ will be aware that this is going down, but I don't think there's very much that he can do about it, as Levi can take this, smite it if he needs to, hit level 3, and it's just being a pain off the back of Cassie now having control over mid as well.
Moving up, he's spotted on yet another ward here. BJ has smite available, will take his big Krug, should be able to finish all of the little ones. Okay, level 3 actually, advantage for BJ. Sparta could move over. I don't know if they realistically win this with a Malphite at level 3 though.
No, got to back away. And my mistake as well, you don't get the level 3 up to clear that, so Levi had gone for. Needed either the Krugs or the Gromp in that one, but we'll just be able to pick it up off the lane stage instead.
I don't think BJ was spotted there. He's managed to sneak in behind enemy lines. Pallet, though, in the meantime, moving towards the mid lane. Oh, Glory, you're in so much trouble. And he doesn't have his flash available after the level 1 red buff to slow him down. And that's a haymaker from Pallet.
That is the kind of support I love to see. I will say Levi probably doesn't like to see it, because he would have loved that early kill. Try and set himself up nicely for the Divine Thunder, but still very far ahead here with that play. Only losing out on the Wolves, so kind of matching the Raptors for Wolves trade there, as BJ is going to sneak his way back out. May look to... Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to be very surprised if he tried to commit towards a blue buff steal or anything here. Should just try and rotate down to this bot side, pick up his own camps that are still available that hadn't been cleared off his initial play, and then move into Scuttlebutt. Who might have judged BJ?
Yeah, he doesn't have any vision of anything. He is going to commit to the recall in the end. I'm not sure what he was hoping for there, whether he was expecting maybe hoping Catty would come and try and ward that brush or something like this. Not sure. Either way, Artemis in the meantime did get a plate down in that bottom side. You can see CS relatively even. And as this wave pushes out, that's kind of your opportunity for Artemis, for Beer, to look for a potential all-in with the Ignite.
Yeah, there isn't a lot that you can do against Slater, though, because he was able to back and get the longsword versus just the pot on the opposite side. But this is just really nice. Glory had already burnt the flash. The slow coming through from the command dissonance means it's easy for Levi to get in. And at this stage, Pallet, I know you want the assist, but you definitely should have just left that for Levi, as the red buff slow would have been enough. But still, nice roam from Palace off the fact they'd got that advantage against Artemis and B, and they had to disappear back to base.
He just takes a couple of punches to the face. He'll be all right. He'll walk away and go back towards clearing his jungle. In the meantime, Slater and Pallet have a huge wave to crash. Levi in the area, but I don't think this is a diveable angle right now, so just going to be able to clear that one. BJ was sort of hovering as well, just in case.
Yeah, also with the reset coming through from Slater and Pallet again, so trying to see if they can keep up the matching the buy that just came through from Artemis. You can see he reset for the recurve, so trying to match fire with fire with the spray of Dirk net completed. So again, should have a bit more control there for the Kaisa in this matchup, just off the buy states, and also the fact that again Pallet has been doing a great job of getting into position. Smite away by Levi.
BJ, unfortunately, missing out on the steal. He's quite far behind in CS at this point. Glory starting to take control of this mid lane matchup. Catty, low on HP, low on mana. Glory at that level 6 mark. Like, if they're both low on HP in that mid lane, when you hit level 6, that's a big advantage towards Glory. Pallet flashing forwards though. He's hit level 6, but it just doesn't matter.
Great play from Pallet, managing to catch Glory on the edge of that. Now will be spotting out Pallet as well, but I thought we might have seen Team Wells trying to make a play in towards mid lane. I was actually about to praise Glory for the advantage he's picked up, and now Sparta.
He's level 6. Sparta's level
has
6. He's going into the mid lane. It's a knock up there. The hook though blocked as the root lands onto Kai. He's ignited and should go down, but BJ solo on HP. Levi chasing for the kill and finds the 1v1. Pallet as well, low. In the meantime, Sparta trying to finish one of these kills off, but he just can't get onto anyone. And now Levi keeping the fight going. Levi, you might have overstepped on this one, but pulled back in is Sparta. Flashes for a kill, and there's a bonus. Glory arrives on the scene.
GAM just needed to back away. They got what they came for, but instead try to overextend, and this Team Wales were able to fight their way back, and Glory picking up a kill on the back of that is going to massively help out this Syndra.
That is absolutely huge, because already CS lead for Glory at this point in the game, as Canty wanted to go 1-1 there, but ultimately that bonus kill there evens up the gank that we saw onto Glory earlier on in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, the fact now as well that you get the opportunity to play around Glory a little bit more because he's come back, he has that level 6 hit, you still have BJ's there, he still has flash as well. It means there are opportunities to try and continue to make plays in mid, because ideally that's what Team Wales was going for. You can see that Faye was already waiting in the wings. They wanted to try and play around Glory, who's going to hit that level 6 so soon here, but Pallet preemptively getting into the mid lane, knows that he's just stronger than the Nautilus when it comes towards the 2v2, because it's a set versus a Nautilus. And then here, I mean, you kind of get the kill for Team Wales, but the fact that Catty manages to step away in the backside, also get that ultimate off, means that Team Wales have to overextend in this position. And then it's just GAM who start to chase them down. But again, at this stage, GAM just back away. Levi decides to re-engage, and Pallet has to move in to try and set things up. But good flash from Sparta, manages to set that one.
I was trying to figure out what Levi was thinking. I just saw the Void Seeker fly up from Slater. He's trying to set up for the Kai'Sa ultimate, fly in, get the kills onto the AD carry. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. Sparta flashes, finishes that kill. Makes it impossible, then Glory getting the bonus off the back of it. Sparta moves back up to the top side. And we kind of reset to 0 for a second. I just want to quickly mention as well, Dagda. I feel like we're almost seeing like the foreshadowing of the fact that Adam's playing later today. First off, Sparta ganking the mid lane, but also we get a set in this lobby as well. It feels like a very like pre-Adam series.
We'll have to see if it's going to be the Darius here for Team Wales when they bring out the gods, or if it's going to be a different style, or if it's going to be the dogs for GAM instead. But I think this has kind of been a decent spot for GAM from the get-go, right? Your set's doing perfectly well. He's playing aggressive, which is what you want from the set, especially in the roams, and being able to set up the team. You've got the Rift Chart now in your back pocket. Divine Sunder very much started for Levi. As long as you can actually get this down into the bot side to get Slater up and rolling, I think you're in a great spot. I'm a bit concerned about them trying to get control over mid lane here for the Rift Herald, just because if Bay is there and BJ is there, there's a lot of burst damage that can come out to Kati, point in case right there. And if you end up in a situation where you get stunned, BJ follows up, he has kick into a hook, you don't really get to play the game as Kati. So I think leaning bot into a play there is going to gain more for GAM, especially when Pallet's flash, I think, is going to be coming up in just about a minute and a half time.
So you're taking a little bit of poke there. Drake up on the map right now, and Catty down to half HP as they are fighting desperately for Prio now. You can see Catty doing everything he can to get control of this mid lane, but when your health bar's this low, yeah, Pallet moving over. Somebody's got to help Catty get this wave in, because otherwise Glory has a chance at an all-in. Pallet, I've got to say, it's been on point so far in this set.
Yeah, I mean, the pullbacks have been great. I wasn't sure if you get the slow, if he was going to try and worm his way in behind there to get the ult, but you can see his flash just now back off cooldown, and this is where you got to get dangerous.
Behind gets the Drake as we're all grouped up. Sparta has the ultimate available. They're just going to go for the closest target, but that's a Wukong across everyone, and Pallet finds one. Slater flies in from the side, and it's more kills into the pocket of Pallet.
Beautiful positioning from Levi. I think Team Wales assumed that he'd gone over the wall with the clone, and that's why they weren't worried about him. But Levi just hiding in the pit, knowing there's no vision there for Team Wales, and GAM strike perfectly back onto the play.
I mean, Pallet, 3-1 and 3 right now, 100% kill participation and a hat trick on this set. It's not a meta pick, but it's working beautifully.
So we see here Team Wales trying to take the fight. Dragon goes down, and they see Levi exit into the pit. So they see, oh, they're trying to back away. Levi's going to go over the wall, but Levi doesn't. So actually sets up beautifully alongside Pallet with that gorgeous ultimate haymaker across, picks up the kill for him, and Slater's then able to use the CC that's already been there to follow in to pick up the double kill for the support. I mean, you've got to be happy with that. Look at that from Levi.
They are over the moon with that one, feeling the energy. The funny thing is, it's not even like the first kill he got. Yeah, fair play. Pallet kind of just stole that one. But those two, like, they were the first one was a necessary kill. The second one in that fight, that was actually his ignite that kind of unluckily took it. So it's not even like he's actively trying to take these kills either. So far, so good for GAM. You see the gold difference there, slowly but surely eking upwards. Over 2,000 at this point. Artemis as well is on this Kalista. You kind of want to be ahead in this kind of game. And we're talking about Team Wales picking this composition that really want to scrap, that really want to go forward, but doesn't feel like they can right now.
And that's the biggest problem. Artemis just hasn't been in a position where they can try and play off him, because Pallet has just been, hey, push the bot, roam elsewhere. Now, Sparta's in a lot of trouble. Forced the flash because the ultimate wasn't up and available. And that's going to give a ton of control now as you try to look towards Rift Herald in 2 minutes' time. No flash on the Malphite makes it significantly easier for GAM to position fights.
It does. Glory will be able to clear this wave, deny the Herald. Oh, not deny the Herald, kill the Herald, but did get that one plate off the back of the Herald, and Kiaya already 2.5 plates in on the top side, close to a third one. Levi getting cheeky in the jungle once again. Basically the whole of Wales are here, aside from Sparta. So won't be able to do too much. Although, perhaps could look towards a dive on this bottom side. Catty looking for an all-in onto Glory, but the scat of the week will deny.
Yeah, just about out to back away. You see though, Catty now feeling way more confident to position aggressively because he can get the kill.
Shockwave, Catty looking for a solo kill! Catty is destroying Team Wales.
Oh, hang on, we're still looking. BJ forced the warp off, but he's still got to follow the kick away, but Pallet's there! And 4 kills for the bloodthirsty support of GAM!
Pallet is taking them apart. This is brutal. GAM are here. Game number 4 is their game right now. They want to go to the Swiss stage. They want to win on the board.
Absolutely beautiful stuff from GAM. I mean, Catty at the moment is putting the double Y into Glory. As every time he tries to step up, Catty's asking why. puts him in his place. And then on this, like you can see it here, Kati knows he's got the damage. Steps past the orb, so there's no way the Scatter from Weak can land. The shockwave is beautiful, and the clockwork wind up with that damage is straight there. BJ then tries to step into position, but the damage, thanks to that Divine Thunder being completed, 2 bashes sets him up perfectly, and Pallet Flash, Ignite, yoinks him in for the kill.
It sets him up perfectly, and then Set gets involved as well. Takes the kill. Pallet with 4.
Oh, no.
Look at the support goal difference. I have never seen a support goal difference this strong outside of Set.
He's the second most goal difference in the game. I love these Mastercard Lane Academy snapshots where we just get to see that here is the stupid amount of goal difference you need to look at.
I will say, the slight negative for GAM is you don't really want all of your gold on your support, but at the same time, you're 8-3 up, you're 5k
it's also
up.
set.
It
like
is set, yeah.
everyone, you're kind of like, hey, this is actually all right. Like, I'll be able to make this one work. So, and they're making it work. Levi and Pallet have decided that they're going to go hold hands around the map. Now starting off the Rift Herald, keeping control over the mid lane as well. You can see they're starting to get wards placed around this area because they're like, as long as we can control mid priority, we can start to lean towards Rift Herald. Dragon in 15 seconds, they'll probably be a little bit late for, so if Team Wales are quick enough, they might be able to make something happen there, but I think they're a bit worried that if they go for that Dragon, they're actually going to lose their mid-turn in response.
We'll do the Hextech Drake next. And luckily for us, the first Drake of the game was Cloud, so no Cloud Souls today, but Levi flashed away by Artemis, but the Shockwave, you can't flash away from that one. Will survive for the time being. That's 2 ultimates used, and now Glory forced to flash himself by Kiaya.
Yeah, though Kiaya still getting the better of that. You can see the amount of Merc thread value that's going to be coming out in this one between the Malphite, Nanos, and the Syndra means that he's perfectly happy to go toe-to-toe with Glory. Kati, though, has no ultimate, needs to be careful. Sparta, no flash, but if you're all in the pit here as GAM, maybe this is where Artemis can come alive.
Sparta level 11, so second level on that ultimate. Keep your eyes on the Malphite. The ult has to be huge. Glory over the wall as well. Scatter the Weak could be massive if Sparta can set it up. Pallet actually going to bring Sparta over to the rest of his team. Still holding on to that ultimate as Artemis goes on to Kiaya. They got the Drake as well, and it's huge damage coming down onto the carries. There's another one for Glory as Levi goes down as well. It's just disaster for the side of GAM.
The fact that Pallet ends up being caught out there is huge. He's kind of their big engage tool at the moment when Levi doesn't have an ultimate for himself. And I think Team Wales read the situation perfectly. We have the opportunity to take this fight with the ultimates, with the position we have, and they fight back against GAM.
I can't believe how clean that fight was. I can't believe how one-sided that fight was. They're so far behind, or at least were so far behind. Now with a Hextech Drake, and it's an Infernal Soul this game.
This is the thing though, watch as Pallet goes in here, watch Sparta's positioning. He steps behind Pallet so he can't actually ult him into the team. So he ends up going away. Kiaya is now overextended to try and get Artemis. Great cleanse by Artemis as Kiaya gets the CC. And then Sparta gets the double knockup as Glory is coming into position off of being forced away on bot side to then set up for the follow-up. Like, it is a beautiful moment across, like positioning from Sparta, the cleanse coming through from Artemis, and then Glory just getting in at the right perfect timing.
Great hook there from Bia at the end of the fight onto Kati. That, I mean, Glory must have felt so good to just throw an auto attack out at the end of the fight and finish off the mid laner that solo killed you in the lane. That's gotta feel cathartic. And you can see the goal difference dropping dramatically from the side of GAM there. Team Wales still behind, make no mistake. 2,500 gold lead still for GAM. The fact that you can lose a fight that handedly and still be 2,500 gold up says a lot. Pallet already low, but Artemis has gone way too far forwards. He's just destroyed. Glory might be in the same boat as Slater jumps on forward to finish the kill. They're pulled underneath the tower, though. Slater's so low on HP. BJ surely can finish that one off. Needs a ward hop. He's still on the queue. Was it on cooldown? It must have been. Sparta and Kiaya sparring as well.
Yeah, still had the cooldown on the Q. Could have flashed and gone for it, but not quite able to get into range. That was very dangerous from Slater. But still, GAM get it back. Tower down, 2 kills go over in favor of just the 1 for Levi. So big moves from GAM to try and keep control of this game. But again, this is the back and forth we've had all series long. Just when you think one person has gotten a lead, they come back. BJ was trying to set up here, I think, for a kick, but the minion died. And that's why with Glory here, they're like, hey, look, we've got the numbers advantage. But Levi immediately beats them to the punch, goes in aggressively, just decimates Artemis with the shockwave from Kati, putting Artemis into the team. Then you get the follow-up onto the Syndra damage as well, and Slater just barely able to walk away from that one, but not so much for Catty.
Yeah, I don't think Catty's getting out of this one alive. Theo with another hook. Great ultimate from Sparta. Artemis being chased down by Kiaya. That's a lot of space, though. The croc might fall on this one. Doesn't have the damage. Artemis trying to kite away here. Levi has the ultimate available. Wants to try and save it. Slater will finish it off underneath the tower. Walks away with his life. Glory arriving on the scene. I don't think this is a 2v1 he can take right now.
Still top lane going down. Pallet, where are you off to, buddy?
Yeah, no reinforcements this time. You may have 4 kills, but you're still playing set. Everyone dodges the true damage, and they will finish the job off. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. Shut down. It's fucking BJ.
The tower didn't go down in bot lane. The charge didn't go across from the Rift Tower. Glory was able to interrupt it, so Team Wales actually fight the 1-for-1, get tower, but might be Glory who falls now that Levi has ult.
Yeah, huge kill there. Slater, easy finish off. Double ultimate used on the bottom side. Glory realistically overstepping, and you said, you know, the tower survived, not any longer.
It was so close to being a big win for Team Wales. They get the tower, they match kills, but I think Glory kind of breathed an early sigh of relief. Was like, okay, we're all going to push off, but Levi, as you called out in that play, held on to that ultimate for so long that they just must have assumed it wasn't up or that it was used, and then he ends up coming into the lane to kill off Glory. So now you get full vision control on the spot side for Dragon in a minute's time and wave push. This is where you can try and set up for second Dragon very easily as GAM.
And I have to say as well, we've been talking about how action-packed we expected this series to be. It's all coming to a head, Dagda. We've got more than a kill a minute so far in this game, and with Drake spawning in 45 seconds, you've got to expect there's going to be more.
But this is the thing, I think if you're looking at Team Wales, you have to try and play to pull GAM out of their comfort zone. If you can try and set up and play off the vision you have established at Baron, maybe you can try and push mid and draw GAM into this area, because if you're walking in blind to Sparta, to Glory, these kind of CC opportunities, it's going to set you up well. I don't think they have enough control over the bottom side right now to keep it in check. Although Kiaya, a bit late to the play here, so it looks like Team Wales will be able to fight for mid priority and actually get the vision control that they need back on this river area.
It does feel like GAM with 2 items on Slater already in a fantastic spot for this fight. If Slater can position correctly, he will one-shot people with this build, and assuming he's not on Sparta at very least.
Keep your eyes on Levi. Flashes up. Ult just came up, but there's the stun!
Great combo. It's only onto the clone, though. Sparta couldn't quite find his target, and now he's just going to be chased out. Force the flash. Does get the shockwave out from Catty. We go back to the status quo.
Levi still has his engaged though, and that's where GAM actually have the advantage. You need BA. This has to be a huge knockup from BA, but there goes Levi.
Levi into the back line, but there's not much follow-up from the rest of his team. They all back away here. Glory still alive. Kiaya getting into the back line of Sparta, trying to tank. Slayer has gone so deep for this one, but he's totally alone. Slater versus the world. He gets underneath the tower, but look at the spears rendered and taken down. But Pallet saves the day again. Levi now looking for more as the hook comes out from Bia to escape the play. BJ alongside him, no ultimate available as we're just in full retreat for Team Wales.
BJ needs to start landing some of these sonic waves. The consistent overextension from Team Wales, because he hasn't been landing these Qs, is causing them major issues. See, there, that's overextend for Slater on the bot lane tower, and that's where Pallet's able to come in to finish off Artemis. Now GAM have control over Dragon, but I don't know how much control they have. Glory, TP available, now coming back up. Sparta going to be able to TP in just a matter of seconds, and his ult is just around the corner.
Yeah, he wants to go. BJ's just looking for a 2v1 here, and he'll find it as well. Levi pulled back in. No, great clone coming out from him. Sparta's TP'd in. Glory actually managing to hold on to his TP as well, realizing they've taken control of the play. That means he can just move to the bottom lane. This will be a second Drake for Wales.
I mean, it shouldn't have gone this way, but you'll be happy as it is Team Wales managing to get that play, to get the Dragon for themselves and some kills back, but messy stuff on both sides. Everyone is tossing everything and the kitchen sink at each other to try and find some advantage, but it's not really coming in for either.
And just imagine the world where those 5 kills that Pallet has are on some carries.
Again though, coming into this, right, Sparta, the engage is already gone, so this is great from Levi, but you called it in the fight. Nobody there on Levi to follow up, and Slater's caught in the pit, so Slater feels the need now to overextend to finish Glory, but he's in a terrible position because Sparta is just tanking all this damage from the backline on top side. But this Q needed to hit from BJ, because now Artemis is overextended underneath the tower. Pallet is set up then to follow up, and it means that they're not able to just have Artemis stay safe in this fight, and now with the consistent damage down, that's why GAM are able to try and follow up. But as you said, Catty thinks he has way more that he can do in this scenario, but once that damage lands, you've already got the Gore Drinker here from BJ. He's able to keep himself nice and healthy, Conqueror stacked. It's easy pickings for BJ.
And I think awkward pathing there from Pallet as well. Going into the pit to Hex Flash over, but couldn't actually join. So it ends up actually being a 2v2, even though there was 3 players on the map for GAM.
I do want to bring us back into focusing on items after the team fight damage. You can see Artemis doing some work.
My goodness.
The Nashor's Tooth just picked up for Slater. Absolutely massive for the Kai'Sa. She's going to be a menace now in these fights, especially if you can proc that ultimate. Or sorry, proc that passive.
Yeah.
Also looking at Artemis, Gwynsu's Blade of the Rune King. He's in a great spot. Stopwatch as well to stop some of these engages from Kiaya or even Levi if he manages to get onto him. So both AD carries are going to be firing a hell of a lot of damage in these fights. And Kiaya wants to try and get a flank off here, so you need to be very careful if you're Artemis.
Certainly do. And it feels like the next couple of fights could decide everything. GAM, they want this so bad. Did they get spotted? I don't think so there, but they've cleared it anyway, so that'll give away the ghost. Sparta trying to move in. Kiaya still behind enemy lines. Artemis actually cutting towards him here, getting behind the play. BJ there to support, but Glory's gone down. In the meantime, Kiaya still surviving. The kick across the team here. Sonic Wave onto Slater as Kiaya should finally fall. Artemis still alive, getting one for himself as Slater. Kiting back. BJ with his team. Pallet pulls Artemis in as well, but BJ gets onto Slater. He doesn't have the damage though. Slater's so huge in this game, and Artemis is still kiting, still going, but he's totally alone.
He's the only one left, and Pallet is just going to keep him away as the rest of GAM get control over mid. Pallet can kill him if Artemis isn't careful, but it doesn't matter. GAM, they have the health bar on Levi. They're going to turn over towards the Baron.
GAM get their opportunity to take control of this game now as Catty moves in to help with that Baron. And this is such a messy fight for Wales.
And Kiaya is on a ward, so they knew this was happening. The cleanse from Artemis, it's a good positioning from him. But again, with Glory going down, there's not really enough damage there from just Artemis to carry this fight, especially with both of the damage dealers on GAM still up and available. This ult as well hits onto the clone. These clones have been getting so much value from the Wukong, where the Nautilus goes in, gets the knock-up, BJ tries to escape, but Slater flashes in to follow up on it, and then Artemis is just running for the hills. So you see work trying to be done in these fights, but there's just not enough if Glory's going to go down like that.
And now GAM get themselves a Red Bull Baron power play to work with. Catty! The missed timing on the scat of the week, and now Artemis has to use that stopwatch, but the entire gang is here. Catty the target, Artemis low on HP, but still surviving. No, Kiaya cuts him down, and Catty survives as well. Kiaya still full HP. How is this a 1-5 for GAM? And now BJ is going to be caught out. Sparta trying to just buy space for his team, but knocked up himself, and will slowly be whittled down. Glory trying to save his Malphite, but I don't think there's anything that can be done. And Pallet, you're going nowhere, Glory. Pallet is taking control of this. He wants a Swiss.
Glory is going nowhere, but I can tell you where GAM are going, and it's the base of Team Wales off the back of a magnificent pick onto Artemis. That could be it right here.
GAM, call them cheesy, call them a roll, because they want a Swiss today, that's for sure. A 10,000 gold lead as they start to hammer away at the Nexus. In goes BS to try and buy time, but this is all GAM. They remind Team Wales why they were the first seed out from the BCS, and they qualify to the World Championship Swiss stage.
A 3-1 victory, history repeated here today for GAM as they will move on to the next stage of Worlds 2023. And what a way to do it. Pallet was a monster on this set pick, working so well to find these opportunities around mid lane, to keep Glory in check, to find picks on Artemis. This was a phenomenal game from the VCS first seed.
Pokes across the board as well. These guys know each other, you know. These two teams have played many times. These players have played many times across the years. And you can see Team Wales not too devastated. At least if you're gonna get knocked out, at least it's a team from your own region that then qualifies to the Swiss stage. But I mean, they've got to be heartbroken.
I mean, being that close, having that game 2 go so well in your favor, having some moments where it could have been your time to pick up that mantle and ride the pride of your region in towards the next stage. But unfortunately, not to be the case here today, because let's be real, there was hero performances across the board. Like Pallet in this game, I think we got some incredible performances from Levi, but across the game, this entire series, Catty, for me, stood out. That guy was such a monster all series long.
Absolutely, and he will be our Oppo Player of the Series. Congratulations, Catty, on a monstrous performance today, showing up and multiple solo kills in that mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, commanding Glory. Although we kind of say, hey, Artemis is the flashy player, it has been Glory's been the backbone of Team Wales, and he just broke their backs, honestly, like constantly finding these big moments. The Syndra was absolutely insane. The massive damage in game 2 he put out on the Victor, and then even coming into this last game as well, the Orianna, some of these shockwaves, absolutely stellar, turning around what was the matchup he was winning in game number 1, saying, no, I can do it both sides of the equation. Catty had Glory's number the entire way through this series.
Absolutely brutalized. Phenomenal stuff coming out from Catty and from the whole of GAM. Congratulations, guys. They've made it to the Swiss stage. And look, GAM have made interesting things happen in the, well, not in the Swiss stage, in the group stage of Worlds previously. Absolutely phenomenal stuff coming out, and excited to see what they can do with the Swiss.
Same. I am really, really excited, especially even after MSI, where they were able to get that big upset over top Esports. This is a team that is capable of playing with the best and taking down and causing those upsets, and you know that they're going to be looking to do the same again.
Well, we're gearing up for the last series of the play-in stage, an absolute banger between Team BDS and PSG Talon. As we go to a break, let's take a look at some of the shots from yesterday's atmosphere in the arena, brought to you by the Oppo Cam. When you hit level 6, that's a big advantage towards Glory. Pallet flashing forward, so he's hit level 6. As we're all grouped up, Sparta has the ultimate available. They're just going to go for the closest target, but that's a Wukong across everyone. And Pallet finds one. Slater flies in from the side. Trying to save his mount fight, but I don't think there's anything that can be done. And Pallet, you're going nowhere, Glory. Pallet is taking control of this. He wants a Swiss.